Doing well as well.
Yes, me too. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me
Yeah.
well? Am I too loud like last time?
No, this time you're actually sounding much better. You're sounding
All
perfect.
right. Okay.
Uh,
I got a new mic. That's why.
$5,000 microphone, I bet.
No, not at all.
No, to a $5 microphone. Anyway,
No, just a phone
awesome,
microphone.
amazing. Yeah, cool. Let's see who else will. Let's give a few more minutes. People will be
Okay.
joining. Vignesh, I'm not sure if you want to be talking or not today, but feel free to ask for microphone access. I'm still trying to get where's Anika. I'm not sure. I hope Anika will contribute and speak today. X Polygon. All right, we have invite as a speaker. Jefferson, Mr. Jefferson. Profile looks interesting. All right. I definitely realized that next time we'll do probably a better, again, organization in terms of who's going to be speaking. But again, this is experimental, so like don't have any high expectations. Just let's have fun. All right. NFT Gaga, since you've been, pretty active and you actually reached out to me before the start with questions about the structure. So, yeah, let's do it. Can you maybe introduce yourself and share your experience so far managing communities or participating in communities?
Managing communities, I wouldn't say that I have a lot of experience. I'm just starting in this space as well. I'm at the moment I'm a moderator in two projects. So I am a moderator at Crypto Tech Women project that I'm super passionate about, and I'm loving our community and everything about the project. And I'm just also starting as a mod at We Impact project. It's also a new project. So yeah, I'm a moderator in two projects and looking into learning about community management and just growing in this space. Super happy about it.
Awesome. So how long have you been, trying to get into the space and trying to, mod those communities?
I would say like months, something a little bit like 1 month or like like 1 month, not very long. But I have been interested about the whole NFT space for like since summer of last year, and little by little I've been learning and trying to kind of shift from like the Web 2 space into the Web 3 space. And I have been learning and learning as I go and trying, to improve as I go.
Awesome.
Hmm.
Would you say what were the learnings so far that you or interesting situations as a mod that you kind of participated in and you had to take action as a mod?
Taking action as a mod, I mean, I'm kind of there are like 4 or 5 of us, and we have different time zones. So I kind of try to adapt myself to everyone. Like my time zone is CET, so I kind of know some people live in Canada, and I'm like, okay, they are not available, so I have to be more like active in the group, like welcoming people, and then if there's somebody not acting, like kind of acting out in the group, I have to be like, take care of that, and just in general, just be aware of the things that's happening in the group, while like let's say like some part of the moderators, some members of the moderator group are like sleeping or like not available. So I have to be aware of that, and I try to adapt myself to everyone, because we are in this together, and all of us are passionate about the project. So yeah.
Awesome. Cool. And thanks so much for the intro. And we
Yeah.
have a few more guests join us today. Anikudu. I'm not sure whether I'm pronouncing your name correctly. But yeah, please introduce yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's a bit hard to hear you though.
Hello, everyone.
Well, the mic is we cannot hear you. Can you please maybe like try to make sure that your mic is closer to you and it's like maybe a good wired mic?
Hear me,
That'd
right?
be great.
Can you hear me now?
A little bit better.
Okay. Hello, everyone.
Hey.
Yeah. Basically, my name is Anikubi. I've been into the crypto space for about a while now. I actually started out as a crypto trader, then advanced into being an ambassador for various projects. I think over 10 projects so far. Then started out also recently as a community moderator stroke manager for some projects. Currently 4 different projects at the moment. And also looking forward to learn and share experiences with others here on this chat space today.
Awesome.
Thank you for
Yeah, thanks for joining, for participating. Yes, like you managed I think one of the good questions that you've raised is kind of the difference between community manager and community moderator. What would you say the main difference is?
Yeah, the main difference for me is community moderator. Actually, your task is to actually moderate activities on a chat platform, be it Discord or Telegram. Whereas a community manager, you are in charge of all the social media channels of the project, and you handle the Twitter, the Discord, the Telegram, and to some extent, sometimes the community managers oversee the activities of the community moderators. But these days, we see them being misused in the space because some projects actually call them moderators, community managers, and vice versa. So actually, people tend to forget the differences between them.
Interesting. That's a pretty good point. But I feel what you've described as a community manager, I think used to be, or maybe even still called like a social media manager. But I guess the lines are getting increasingly blurred these days.
Yeah.
Would you say there was like a huge overlap between like what a community manager does in your definition and what a social media manager does, or like what are the differences? What's the overlap?
Yeah, not much overlap per se, but the community manager actually is pretty much similar to the social media manager. The only difference that the social media manager does activities and that the online activities, while the community manager extends to offline, hosting offline events and all that. So I think it's pretty much similar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if any of the speakers have points of view, so they just feel free to unmute yourself and just give comments. Cool. Thanks for this comparison and for the raising this point as well. I think it's important for people to understand that there are like differences between kind of responsibilities in these two roles. Yeah, we also have Jefferson with us today. Please introduce yourself. I mean, your bio says that you've been with SendWire and with Polygon. Sounds like big titles.
Yeah.
What was your experience with these organizations?
Yeah, definitely. Hi guys. My name is Jefferson. I previously worked as the head of documentation over at Polygon. These days, I work as the senior developer relations engineer over at SendWire, and a lot of what I also, perhaps even dearest to my heart, also hold the helm and manage what happens over at the Africans in Web3 engineering talent community. And what that is, what we are really is a group of 700, 800 engineers, growth marketers, product people, front-end engineers, solidity engineers, just out in Africa, just doing some pretty amazing work up in here, So, yeah, so that's pretty much what I'm on about these days. Yeah.
Cool. Have you done any community management, community moderation so far?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I mentioned already, a lot of what we do over the Africans in Web3 engineering talent community is obviously community. And it's really at the point where, and what we are really excited about, with what happens over there is, the fact that there are a lot of engineers a lot of brilliant engineers over in Web2. And I mean, these people have the technical competence, but they do not quite understand the fundamental leanings that underpin what happens in Web3. And so what we try to do is to get trained learning resources, create a community of people that are willing to learn together, And just a lot of stuff around guiding a community, from people that are probably never seen the Bitcoin white paper, to people that are very much interested in the engineering behind a lot of the speculation that happens on some of these projects. So yeah, a lot of, also over at SendWire, I also, of course, as can be imagined, my primary work with the community at SendWire is to ensure that developers have the best possible experience using our APIs, integrating with our APIs, building on our APIs, and all of that good stuff. So really exciting work with these communities and moderating and administering them. Yeah.
Amazing. Cool. Yeah, I think I have like one of the kind of questions for pretty much everyone here who had some experience with everyone with the speaker with the mic access is I think like every now and then everyone faces some sort of like difficult situation in managing their either Telegram or Discord, and or maybe like some subtle situations where like someone is spamming or someone's being negative all the time. So I just wonder, what are the kind of some tips and tricks that you guys seen and that worked when kind of dealing with the situations like that? Anyone has anything to say about that, or share some experiences?
Yeah, I'm handling feud per se in a community, especially on Telegram. Number one, you have to keep your calm and make sure you don't exchange words with the person. You try as much as possible first to explain from your own project perspective and make the user try to understand what the project is all about. But if the person persists on feuding or negative comments, you may be forced to ban such person on the chat or on the community. Also, I think last year, one of the projects I was working with, we had a issue with the contract which caused the whole votes and polls to be drained completely. So at that point, I was the only member of the team active at the moment. So you can imagine the feud that came in once community members discovered that the votes were beginning to get drained and their money was vanishing. So as much as possible, I had to keep the community cool while trying to wait for the other team members to be awake or come online and actually investigate the issue. And upon investigation, I think the issue was recognized on time and also resolved, and the issue fixed temporarily. And I think to some extent, the community members are quite satisfied because actually I engaged with them properly in the right manner and keep making them assured that their phones are safe also. So that's what you need to do most times.
Cool. Thanks for explaining this. Sorry, you have quite a lot of background noise. Yeah, just wanted to ask everyone else, like NFT Gaga, do you have any interesting situations that you've already seen? And I don't know, people are misbehaving in some way, or you're having to react.
I would agree with Anikudi, that you try to keep it calm and keep your cool. Never get into I think it's like a big no-no to get into argument, like say inside of a general chat with the person who's trying to create FOD inside of your community. So I would, the way how we try to manage it, for example, I would DM the person and say, hey, it's not cool what you're writing in the community, and we are giving you a warning. If you're going to do this one more time, we're going to ban you. Some people understand, and some people are just there to create fun, unfortunately. So you have to, be reactive to that. And other part, there are people who come to the communities simply to spam. Like they will have, like yesterday, for example, I had this case. Somebody wrote in a community, "I will teach you how to make $10,000, and here's the number, etc." And it was a lunchtime for me, so I couldn't react right away. But what I loved, it was the community members reacted to this comment and say, "Hey, dude, don't do this." And I just loved it. It tells me that, when we're building communities around your projects, that actually we are creating relations, connections to these people, and they are happy to be there, and they will have your back. Like, they will be there the moment when you're, for example, let's say you're not able to be present in a discussion. So they'll be kind of watching over you, which I found it was so cool. I was so happy. It kind of touched me. So yeah, I would say, like, don't get into argument. Just try to keep it calm, keep it cool, and just, if you have to ban somebody, there is no problem doing that, because people should join if they really care about the project, not just to be, you know. So yeah, that's what I have to say.
Cool. I think one of the things that you mentioned there about giving a warning, I think that's kind of useful, because I think sometimes in certain communities people give a ban right away without a warning, and
Yeah.
giving a warning is like a super generous thing. So like, it's an
Yeah.
opportunity for the person to like self-correct and like not be banned for
Exactly.
life from the
Exactly.
community.
Yeah.
So
Sometimes it happens also, like, the person he can be tired, right? And he can be writing like small small sentences, let's say, like, just to he's not really engaging in a authentic conversation, let's say, with the community members. And so you kind of have to also understand that we are all humans. You have to kind of put yourself in his position. Maybe he's just interacting because maybe he's tired after work and he doesn't have energy to write like long sentences, right? Like, everything happens. So if something bothers you, I think, in the community, like general chat, let's say, the way I like to manage it is to, like, have a human interaction. Say, hey, it's not cool, could you improve that? And then if the person understands, it's great. If no, then no. So,
Yeah, I mean, to piggyback off what NFT Gagas mentioned, I think one thing that must be understood is that creating a community consciousness is really foundational to understand, to getting the right people and the right conversation going on. So what I define as a community consciousness is the guiding ethos for a community, right? And this means that the type of conversations that can be had, the type of conversations that shouldn't be had, and the things that can go on to, and understanding how to prime the community to react without having the community mod speak many times. I favor this approach because what can happen many times is if you are quick to strike and you're quick to, what's the word for it now, to use a ban, you may create a dictatorial system where individuals believe that someone must come to enforce the rules, and there's no communal understanding of what the rules are until when someone comes to enforce them. And so what I do many times with my communities and with the developers that I relate with is to create from the ground up, a guiding ethos. This is what we do, this is what we are about, this is what we are not about. And it actually does go beyond just creating a set of rules and regulations many times. It also goes into when you're having your community calls, speaking about being respectful during conversations, being understanding of others' prejudices, and opening a system where people can get feedback for the conversations they have. Now, of course, it must be understood that while this may work, there will always be nefarious elements, people that are just going to shield the 1 billionth Ponzi coin. Yeah, those ones deserve an instant ban. But for there are people that are coming in from their way.
Sorry, I think you got muted. Twitter's been acting weird today somehow for me. Jefferson, please unmute yourself.
All right,
Sorry.
so my apologies. I
Sorry,
really
it's
don't
my
know
bad.
Yeah, no problem. So at the core of it, essentially, is creating a community consciousness and a community ethos for what conversations should be allowed, and how can that be done? Aside from moving on from doing a proper rules and regulations on Discord, another thing is, another way it can be done, of course, is doing community calls to reaffirm the respectfulness that must happen in conversations on the Discord. That's how I go about it.
Cool. Do you guys like? Have you seen any like common best practices in terms of like your structuring Discord and like some for example channels that are like must have or really like suggested to have them that they've been really helpful in terms of kind of structuring and onboarding new people into the community? Because let's face it, all Discord channels these days, they're like hundreds of different channels, and it's like super hard to navigate what's going on where, and people start conversations in different channels. What have you guys seen as like the best practices in structuring the channels and channel folders?
I can say that having a channel about general information about the project with all the links to official links to the project, like the website, Twitter, etc. I think it's super useful. Let's say when you are onboarding a new member, you're like, hey, how are you? Welcome to the community. Please, you might want to see this information, and you just tag them the channel and where he can go and find information easily. I find that is super important. Then also about information about the frequently asked questions, like you might want to have that. And of course, the meme channel. We cannot go without the meme channel. I love that. So yeah, like I would say those two are super important.
Cool. Anyone else?
Yeah, in addition to that, I think we should have a Twitter channel to post Twitter announcements also. A suggestion channel should also be included. Then a regular talk channel, maybe a price talks channel, or a channel to discuss about other projects different from your actual project, because definitely there will be people who want to talk about other projects. Then also, I think that's it. Then for NFTs these days, you can also have a verified NFT holder channel for the verified NFT holders to feel exclusive from the rest of the community.
Interesting. That's specific to the NFT project. Sounds like it.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to mention if your community is one that is attached to a big size protocol like perhaps the ones I've worked for, you want to ensure that, of course, piggybacking off what NFT Gaga and what Kuri has mentioned, you should have your general, your main, also things for for peripheral activities. But perhaps even more important is that if your community is one that integrates with several other or if your organization integrates with several other organizations and they have active communities, it might be to your best interest to have channels dedicated to these different integrations. And so when I say integrations, I simply just mean instances where, say for example, now your company is Cardano, and of course Cardano has something going on with, I don't know, Binance, right? So a Binance Cardano channel can be created, and what happens there is the conversations that are tied to that relationship, or developers that have issues with that integration, or whatever conversations need to be that happen in that hemisphere can happen over there. That way, you can help segregate your community into places that into different instances, different channels, and help can come to those channels almost immediately. Yet another best practice I guess you could try out is to go on to have a place dedicated to the peripheral sides of conversation. So a place for fun, essentially, a place for fun, because we don't want to bring Web2 politics and Web2 straight jacket behavior into Web3. So a place for fun, and also a place for integrations with different protocols or whatever organizations you have. It's a really nice way to ensure that help gets into the ecosystem as soon as it can.
It's a very good point. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just
Okay, I'm just gonna say. So I'm kind of like, I feel like it will also depend of the project that you are, of your project. If you have a DeFi project, of course you will have to have uh, additional other channels, whereas NFT project will have other things. So yeah, but like overall, in general, I feel like, the ones that we mentioned, everyone mentioned, is kind of important channels, but it will differ from one project to another. Can you guys hear me?
yeah. I think
Okay, I thought I was rugged.
no worries. I think also just to comment to what Jefferson said as well, that having a channel per integration, especially I think that's especially
Yeah.
relevant for like DeFi projects or like
Definitely.
projects that are like getting listed somewhere. I think that is super
Definitely.
useful. Yeah. So these are pretty good points. Have you used any of the like common bots? I guess there are like some bot names that are pretty common, but anything that you recommend that is probably more niche that helps you like moderate the conversations?
I mean, to be frank, I actually might actually take a seat on this one to listen for the type of bots that everyone else uses. Mostly because I found that for bots myself, aside from the one for that I use for capture verification, is a little complex. I can't remember the name for the life of me. Aside from that, I've not particularly had any use cases for a lot of bots, but so I'm going to take a back seat and see if anyone has used bots that has been beneficial to their community. Yeah.
NFC Gaga, any Kudi, any comments here?
Not really. I haven't had any experience with setting up bots because I am not handling like like that part of the project at the moment yet.
Cool. Yeah, I'm trying to add Vignesh as well, who's part of CryptoJobs' core team. Yeah, we recently added Me6, which is apparently a very popular bot for Discord moderation, and like I think Vignesh is currently like setting it up, and I think some of the people who are currently, I think Barry Boos, who's not accepting my invite to speak for some reason. Hope he joins as a speaker, but he is a part of listeners. But he, I think, suggested to add Me6 and kind of add self-assigned roles, which is I think what we are working on right now, so that people can kind of self-identify as as a developer or as a marketing or like community managers, and right away kind of get access to certain channels without getting like spammed by a bunch of channels that are not relevant to them. So we were kind of experimenting with this. I don't remember that within Telegram, but we kind of started moving away from Telegram. We had I forgot the name of the bot. I can like look it up, but in Telegram especially, it's super useful because there are too many scammer. Like the spamming problem, I feel in Telegram is even worse than in Discord. But even in Discord, it's kind of picking up pace as well. But yeah, like I think it's super important to make sure that random people do not just start spamming different links or links to other Discord channels, or because like we, for example, and probably part of it, what prompted this Twitter space is over the past month, as we've been growing our Discord community, we had situations where like it was fairly new Discord server, and some random people would just start spamming phishing links across all channels and tagging like everyone and tagging at here. And kind of we learned the hard way that we need to server-wide disable at everyone and at here so that no one gets notifications, because all these spammers and scammers, they just will abuse that, and they will like use links that look like it's a Discord link or like a link to some Discord premium feature or whatnot, but in fact that link is like a phishing link that eventually will like ask you for your private keys or ask you to transfer funds somewhere. So yeah, this is something that that's been working for us. Oh, amazing! We have a Gandalf joining us from Ether Cards, and Ether Cards had a recent rebranding. We've been working with them as well. Yeah, so this is what I had to say on that. But now that Gandalf joined, I also would like him to introduce himself. And I think we have a few other guys joining: Lucky, Rabbits Club, and Jerry. That's all. The mic goes to Gandalf. Hey, how you doing, man?
Hey, Roman. Good. How are you?
Doing well. Excited to have you. Wasn't expecting that you'll join, but it's amazing.
Yeah, literally just
good to have you.
I'm like, oh, this is a good topic. Oh, look, who's hosting.
Awesome. Yeah, we just discussing today, best practices for community management, and I think you've got quite a lot of experience with Ether Cards.
Yep.
What would you say, like any like general tips or some general crazy stories that you had so far managing the community?
Yeah, a few. So just, I guess I should introduce myself. I am Gandalf, and I've been in this space for almost 5 years now. I've worked on quite a few projects, exchanges, blockchain platforms, dApps, NFT, launchpads and community growth platforms, DeFi projects. Mostly I've been working with them on ecosystem development and community growth, also marketing, PR, product vision, product strategy, quite a few different things. One of probably the largest community I've managed was about 500,000 people at one point. That was a nightmare.
That's crazy.
That was before Discord was a thing, and that was when we were on Telegram. We had 13 different language groups, and I won't even go into it. But yeah, so I'm currently working with EtherCards, taking care of their Discord, setting up the Discords for all their partner projects. I'm actually building out a team literally right now of some really top-end community managers and Discord devs to basically be available for hire as projects come up, because it's one of the things, as you have been saying, Roman, that projects really don't fully understand this, and they need to. And it's not just necessarily Discord, but general community management. And some of the things that come to mind, I mean, what you were saying about the @everyone and @here, 100% true. I never, ever, ever let that get turned on whenever we're setting up a community. One thing that is really important is to protect your community and make them feel like they're in a safe space. And notification spam is one way to not do that. But the other way is to allow low quality people into your community. And it's not like you're trying to gatekeep and make it exclusive and hard to get into. But it's really important to understand who your target audience is and how to market to them and not market to other people, I guess. So an example of that would be if you do a bunch of influencer giveaways and say, hey, they have to follow our account and make them join our Discord, you're going to get a lot of low quality community members. Now, for some projects, it might not be a big deal, but for many of them who are trying to nurture a sustainable community of non-flippers, that's not what you want. So normally I'll actually, even though it's great for growth, and it might be great for Twitter, potentially, but even then I generally wouldn't recommend it. I would never say do that for any sort of community growth hacks or Discord, because it's that low quality. In addition to that, I would say put in a degree of verification, which allows for the separation of non-verified and verified users. And I thought most projects understood this, but I keep coming into Discords. Even today, I went into one that was fairly well established and that sold out and everything, and they didn't do this. And what I mean by that is, when people join your Discord, create a welcome channel and a verified channel, and turn that channel's permissions and view off for everybody in your community. So the only people that can see those channels are those that have not verified themselves. And then when people verify themselves, whether it be with a captcha or reacting to an emoji or whatever the process you set up is, make sure that those channels disappear and that anyone who isn't verified can no longer see all the general channels, but then anyone who's verified can no longer see the welcome channel. So that make a very clear distinction there. The reason for that, aside from the gatekeeping, the reason for that is because any channel that you can see, your name will show up in the right-hand side on Discord in the members list. And so if you can see the welcome channel that unverified members can see, they can see your name and they can see all the community members in your channel. They can click on them, they can DM them. And that is just a surefire way to make people leave your community and not want to be involved. So that's probably the biggest thing I would recommend. And I could go on forever, but I'll hand the mic back to you, Ramin, on that.
Yeah, no, these are very, very great points, I have to say. And I think like I personally been, getting different DMs from like random people who are with me in some other Discord servers, and I don't even remember which ones. But I think like just to clarify on the verification part, right? I think for a lot of people in crypto, when they hear the term get verified, they immediately think of KYC, and we're not talking about KYC here, right? As far as I understand, what are you referring to is like just primarily verifying that you are not a bot, right? Or
yeah,
are you?
Yeah,
are
that you're not a bot, and that
Mhm.
I actually take it one step further and say that you're not a bot and that you actually want to join the server.
Right.
And that's kind of that thing about you don't want people who are low quality in your community just taking up space. And so normally it'll be a two-step verification, and that is get them to see your rules, which is you can do that with a little pop-up in the Discord settings, and they have to just check I've read and agree, and then confirm. And the good thing about that is if you ever want to kick somebody or ban somebody for not complying with those rules, they can't argue because you've said, well, you agreed to them. You literally ticked the check and you had to read them to do that. But then that's the first level. And then the second level of verification is, like I was saying, about either a captcha, which I don't like all the captchas that are currently existing because they either DM the community members or they send them off-site to a third-party site. So I'm actually building out with my devs a captcha that works within the channel itself and doesn't send a DM and doesn't send the user off-site. But that can be one way, so a captcha, or simply just a react to a post by the bot. Neither of those are actually fully secure. You will get bots, you will get scammers through there, and that's where having an educated mod team managing the server is also really important as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I was just about to ask, this verification process, is it achievable just with the native settings of Discord because they're like bottomless number of configurations, or do you have to use any like external bots and tools to enable these things?
Yeah. So
any tools you'd recommend?
I use both the native settings on Discord plus a bot. There are a number of bots. Some people use the YAPBD. Some I use Me6. Others use Arcane. There's a whole range of them, and it comes down to what you're wanting. Generally speaking, they'll all do the same verification process, but where it really differs is the other features that they have. Now, I'm a big believer that the less bots, the better. The more secure your server will be with less bots. And I like Me6 because it has quite a lot of the features that I need in most of my servers. However, a lot of people don't like Me6 because they put a lot of those features behind a paywall. And you can definitely use Me6 with the verification and everything without going in the paywall. And most bots, you can get that verification for free. But do try and keep your bots to a minimum. So the bots that I recommend for verification are the three that I just mentioned there: Me6, Arcane, and I think it's YAPBD. But you can just search on Discord bots about some of the top ones there, and any of the ones that are used on thousands and thousands of servers will generally be okay.
Yeah, these are very good points. I'm also kind of making a short list of different points that I made in this group. Maybe we'll try to make a thread with like key learnings and key lessons. And if anyone here is like paying good attention, you feel free to make your own thread with like top lessons learned from this Twitter space about community management. Yes, I'm sure these kind of threads will be useful. We'll be happy to retweet them as well if they're good quality. I just wanted to point out that Aditya, who is a community manager at Product Hunt, joined us as well. So hopefully he will join us as a speaker too. But Product Hunt is not necessarily yet in crypto space, but they're pretty big part of online community, and they have a very very kind of tight community there on the side with people commenting and celebrating new products. Hopefully he will be able to join. I'm just trying to invite him to speak and share his experiences. Anyway, all right. I'm just going also through list of kind of questions, like a modest list of questions that I prepared for this conversation. Have you guys experienced any like things that are absolutely no, like never do that as a community manager, or never do that in your community? Maybe that seems like a good idea, but it's actually not a good idea. Any like anti-patterns? Just unmute yourself if you want to speak. Yeah, Jerry and
Yeah. Thank you for having me on. Gandalf gave us a lot of great information. I think that that little bit about the welcome screen and the things that an unverified person can see is major alpha. And I just checked our Discord, and we do have that vulnerability. We will not have that in the next few minutes. That's for sure.
Awesome.
But what I'd like to comment on is things that we will never do. And this was a rather turnaround week for myself and the project that I'm working on, which is this idea of addressing burnout in the community for allow list spots and place in the community, and the ability to mint and be parts of projects. The one thing we most certainly do not plan on doing is manipulating our audience, for lack of a better term. I respect the way things have been done, but they have gotten out of control. I understand why they've been effective, a lot of these strategies and tactics, and I don't want to criticize the way anybody has done anything. We're in a completely pioneering space. So we're all experimenting with what works and what doesn't work. But at this point, it seems like the conversation as of the past week has been heavily focused on this concept of these allow lists and their relevancies, and now with a secondary market for just the spots starting to emerge lately. And that's just something that, we're still thinking outside the box and see how we can do it. So, for example, like, random acts of kindness is something that we're talking about. If we could have somebody prove a random act of kindness and share that with us, we would certainly want to give them priority as to having access to like an allow list or something of that sort. That those are like kinds of things that we're toying with. We're honestly thinking of a bunch of things in regards with Discord. I'll go ahead and share an idea that we were discussing last night, which is the idea of not having our own main central Discord and partnering with trusted and respected projects who will allow us to have a channel on their Discord. So, for example, the name of our project is the Lucky Rabbits Club. So, if we could come on another project, let's say that I know them and we've had discussions, and there's going to be certain things we're going to do for their community, and in turn, they're going to allow us to come have like the Rabbit Hole or the Lucky Rabbits Club channels on their server. Now, that does pose its own security issues, the potential of like lack of control. We could supply a moderator, but then these ideas that what if the owner goes rogue? Like, there's so many steps that you're playing with and seeing like how it reacts. Like, it's almost like, you push and then there's like these little pulls, and you're feeling these reverberations into what works and what doesn't work for the greater benefit of the community that is supporting your project. So it's a really fascinating topic, and I'm glad you're hosting this space. I was really excited when I saw the title and I came in, and I almost instinctually always press the microphone. button. So I was thankful that you brought me on so we could chat about some of these things.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for the contribution. I think one thing that you mentioned about having instead of having your own centralized Discord server, having a group in other servers, I think that's an interesting idea, maybe somewhat underutilized. But and I think it kind of opens in a good way, like a lot of questions, because from one point of view, people would want to have one Discord server where the main conversation is happening, where you have control over that group. At the same time, it is definitely great if you're able to secure and negotiate, agree on your own channel in someone else's Discord, because some of these Discord servers they can be massive in terms of size, or even at 1,000. Even at 1,000, people started getting protective, because a lot of because scammers are out there for everyone, and you want to be careful. Okay, are we gonna create an entire section just for this new project? Is it a legitimate project? Are they gonna be just posting scam links there, or are they gonna be how they will be leveraging our community? Will they actually start adding value to our community? Which also kind of reminds me that. So a few, we, for example, as Scripted Jobs, we used to have a Discord bot for I think for 3 years ago we built it, and then I think it went offline. I wasn't maintaining it for some reason, and recently a lot of people were asking to just create a jobs channel in their Discord. So I had to rebuild Discord board that just posts jobs in crypto and Web3 to the Discord server. So I think it's, and we just started getting different Discord servers adding the bot to their server, creating a dedicated channel, or kind of letting it post to the general channel. But it's definitely an interesting idea of kind of collaborating with other projects through the means of having your own kind of sub channel, especially if you're partnering with that project, or kind of able to add added value. Gandalf, I think he had something to say. Go ahead. You raise your hand.
Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't trying to interrupt. I was just waiting
No
to finish. A couple of things. One thing that Lucky, I think it was you that was talking just before. Was it Lucky?
Yep.
One thing that Lucky mentioned that actually was a good point was the idea of completely changing the narrative of how the pre-sale and early access works. And that's something that I'm actually exploring. So I'm doing my own NFT project, and I'm exploring that, which I won't go into details about at the moment because there's not space for it. But there is another project with... So I'm building out the Discord server and community for a very well-known actor in an A-list actor, and they're planning on getting around 200,000 people in their server. So they want to do it right. And one of the things that they're planning on doing is with their early access, they are going to be doing it where people have to submit essentially some show of love or support for the actor, whether it be a video, song, picture, tweet, something. And then that'll be curated, that they get submitted via the website and then curated. Now, it's an interesting idea, but there are some very serious challenges with that, which I've suggested a couple of options, but they're going away and going to spend some time thinking about that. But I just thought I'd mention that because if they do figure out a good way to do it, it'll be worth maybe sharing it with a couple of you guys to then share with the rest of your followers groups and communities. I think it'll be really good to get that narrative or that thinking started. The other thing was a couple of points that I forgot to mention earlier, but are really, really important. And excuse me, that is anyone who's going to set up a Discord server, when you set it up, you're the owner. Create an account that is dedicated to that server as the owner, set it up, put that owner account away. Do not access the account again with that owner unless you need it. Then when you are going to be managing the account on a day-to-day basis, use a separate account that or your own personal one that you've set up as the admin account. And this will help protect your Discord from compromises. So a lot of compromises occur when either the admin or the owner gets compromised. And if you're on there as an admin, but not the owner, they cannot lock all the other admins out. So it will stop at least you from losing control of your own server. So that's the first thing. The second one was, I always suggest for servers to put up a channel, a read-only channel, which lists all the team members and moderators and community members that have a status, so to speak, on the Discord, and have the people listed there. Anyone who's not listed there is not going to be a team member or a mod, and therefore people aren't going to get fooled by somebody saying, hey, I'm part of the team, or I'm a mod, how can I help you, DM me, whatever, etc., etc. And with your mods, you don't need to give them full control. Definitely do not make them admins. Just give them the controls and the permissions that they absolutely need. And it's okay to have different types of mods. Have a junior mod, have senior mods. I always, if I have somebody that I don't fully trust because they haven't been around for months and months and months, I will give them the bare bones permissions as a mod and give them a probation of 1 month and see how they go. It's really important to do that. Make sure that people that have access to announcements are very few. So obviously you'll have your admins, but keep it to 2 or 3 people. That way you're not going to have issues where somebody gets access to your announcement channel, posts an announcement with a fake link or some other compromising piece of information, and then people get scammed. So those were just a couple of extra things that I remembered. Sorry, I kind of was on the spot before, so I didn't think of them.
Yeah, these are very good points, especially around protecting the ownership of the Discord server. And there's, want to make sure that you have a 2FA set up as well. That's additional security layer. I think a lot of people don't think enough about security because they think that it will never happen to them until it does. And then it's going to be a PTSD for the rest of their life, probably in a good way, that you will never repeat the same mistakes and you'll be more cautious. I think another point that I wanted to make in terms of like permissions to moderate, I've noticed that sometimes people like join a server and they ask like, I want to be a mod, right? And they get, rejected quite often, or they get maybe like accepted too easily. And I think there is no one should get offended if they don't immediately get permission to be a mod because it takes time to earn trust in the community. Maybe like no one knows you, but in the server maybe you're like a spammer, or you've haken someone, so you want to stick around just in regular capacity as a contributor and show that you're actually interested and you're genuine and you're not just running around servers collecting badges of being a mod. And I think the idea of having like different levels of moderators is great. I think the question that I wanted to ask Gandalf is that, so you mentioned having a channel where all the mods not the mods, but team members, the core team members are listed out, right? What's like, why do that instead of just having obviously the team members will have team member permissions. They will be in a team member permission group, right? And that is visible, right, to everyone on the server. What are the pros and cons of actually just having a channel that is read only with just listed out team members?
Sure. So team members may or may not want to be listing their status as online or offline. I keep my Discord status as offline 100% of the time. I'm in about 40 or 50 different Discord servers, and I do not want to be compromised in any of those. I get enough DMs as it is. I do not want to have to deal with spammy DMs. And as soon as I turn myself online, I'm going to receive dozens of DMs a day of just fake stuff, because the majority of the servers that I've joined are not secure in the right way. The other thing is, by having people listed out in the channel, like the dedicated channel, it's normally just one post on that channel. is I can actually list out what their roles are. And then what that does is, if you have your server set up fairly well, you've got a vibrant community, people are really supportive, and you've got that encouraging environment, then it's probably going to be okay if you have that, because people who, let's say somebody wants to contact your BD team, then you don't need to list the whole team on there, but you'll obviously have one person from your BD team who does interact on Twitter. Have them listed there. That way they don't have to go posting in the general server, trying to get a mod, trying to get other team members, trying to fluff around, for lack of a better phrase. They can just find, okay, that's the BD. Let me tag him and ask him for a DM. Or ask him so I can DM. Or the community manager, let's say somebody's got an issue with the mod and they don't actually want to talk to the mods, they can say, hey, I've found the community manager, I can just tag him and do that. Now, it is really important as well, just having the team listed, whether it's in the roles or in this channel, because whenever I tell somebody to DM somebody, I always tell them to find a message of that person or a tag of that person, click on that and send a message through the little pop-up that appears there. That way you know 100% you have the right person, because it's very easy to get the wrong people and fake accounts with the same names or very similar names on Discord. Same thing on Twitter, especially if you're doing giveaways. Really, really important, because you will get fake people and scammers trying to claim prizes either on Twitter or Discord. And I thankfully haven't had this issue yet. I know a lot of people that have, where they end up giving prizes away, and sometimes fairly expensive prizes. One person ended up giving a $2,000 prize away to the wrong person, because, no, in fact, two of them to the wrong person. So it's $4,000 went to the wrong person because they didn't verify the name. And so it's really, really important that you go through the correct process of, so if you tell somebody, send me a DM with your details, they do that, I will always go back into the account, into the channels, find a message from them that I know is from the winner, click on there, send a message, see if it comes up in the same message thread. If it does, we're all good. If not, you know you've got a scammer.
Yeah, I think this is a very good point of like double making sure and paying close attention to all these details when someone reaches out to you, like making sure that it's the right person. Like we also get that in a different capacity, like outside of Discord. But for example, some people message us for support when they're listing jobs, and like even today, someone changed their domain from .com to .xyz. To be like a bit more crypto friendly, and it's the same domain name, the same website, but with XYZ. And like, how do I make sure, like, should I give the access to that person or not? We need to like go through validation process and ensure that the person claims is the person who they claim to be. So yeah, make sure to always pay attention to all the details and verify people that you're dealing with. Cool. I think we haven't heard from Jerry today. According to your bio, you're a super rare community and social media manager. Would love to hear your experience managing that community and just general experience managing all communities that you've been part of, if you're still with us online. Yeah.
Hi. Good afternoon, everyone.
Hey, Jerry.
Yeah, my name is Jerry. I'm Nigerian, and I've been in the crypto space for about since 2018. Yes, and I've been a community manager, and I've worked with a few projects. Well, it's been nice, but I've faced some issues, and I thought I could join the space and maybe talk about them, and I don't know, share ideas and see how that goes. So I've been a community manager for some project, but I noticed something, and I'd like to ask a question concerning that. So the last project I worked with, I don't have to call a name. I don't think it will be nice, but what would you do as a community manager? You're handling a project, and then the owner of the project just goes incommunicado. I don't know. I've had this. I don't know if it's a rug or what happened, but most times we find projects going, owners of project going incommunicado, and then the community just stops functioning. They're still the owners of the projects are still members of the community, but you don't get feedback from them, and everything just goes down. I don't know, what would you do in that situation? Because I'm faced with that right now, and the community is quite wavy, and I'm just lost in the middle of it.
Interesting question. So just to summarize, as far as I understood it, if I understand it correctly, like basically the owners of the community went, disappeared, right? So you're trying to figure out what to do with it, right?
Yes.
Great question.
I've been getting a lot of DMs, proposals for listing, but I don't know. It's quite crazy.
Interesting. Anyone here has any suggestions over what to do in the situation? I think Gandalf always has some good nuggets
I'm
of
actually
advice.
going to ask a couple more questions on that, just so I understand it correctly. I just had to duck out quickly there, so I didn't quite catch everything you were saying. Just to add on what Raman asked, so we've got a project and the project owners, or the community owners, like the Discord owners. Who are we talking about here that's left?
The community owners, they didn't leave, they just stopped. They were inactive.
Okay.
Actually, I had a brief question. Oh, sorry. I mean to interrupt. Sorry about that. I just wanted to ask you a brief question. Did you go over maybe some of these people's previous credentials? Like for instance, have you looked at some of the graphic designers' previous works and stuff like that? I think one thing that's a dead giveaway, right, is if they don't cite any previous work.
With them,
That's one big
I was
dead
working
giveaway.
with an influencer, and then the project reached out to him. Them to me, and then we talked on Twitter, and then we moved.
I'm not sure if the audio quality is it me or is it Jerry's dropping down.
Yeah, I think Jerry's rugging a bit.
Okay. Sorry, I think Adolf, you had some points to make. If you
Everything
just speak.
seemed fine. And about 3 months later, they just, I don't know, kind of vanished.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, and I mean, I'm going to be a little vague with my suggestions, and by all means, Lucky and anyone else, feel free to add in your thoughts as well, because I don't fully understand the exact situation here. But whenever a community owners leave, whenever I've seen that happen, most of the time, unless it's a rug, like it's actually the project team that's just done a rug or a scam or left, generally speaking, it's because the community isn't worth the upkeep to them.
Is the whole connection dropping down, or is it a
I think Gandalf,
I think
just
Gandalf disconnected.
I feel like the space is getting rocked overall. I think.
I don't know. I think the connection today is pretty interesting.
I think I'm next on the hit list.
I think Twitter realized the power of this community, and they do not want us to succeed.
Sorry about that, guys.
Getting rugged by Twitter itself.
Yeah. If you see my name, I'm the Spaces Rug King, so expect it.
Awesome, but I think we have a lot of alpha today, more than I expected. I had low expectations, but it's turning out amazingly. Sorry, I think Gandalf, you wanted to finish up, and then we'll introduce a few other people who just joined. We'll let them introduce themselves.
Yeah. So often they'll leave because if it's community owners that are leaving, it's because they don't see the value in that community to them. And that can often be a sign that the community is actually a low quality community, or it was built incorrectly, or it's insecure. And generally speaking, if that's going to be the case, if I'm in that position where I'm seeing that happen, I would pull the active members to a new community, because trying to fix or keep that current community growing, it's already got problems. It's a dying animal already. And so, not saying that the community owners were justified in what they were doing by leaving. That's totally not on. But to me, that would be a sign of some other underlying bigger issues. But this is really important to understand. I'm talking about community owners here, not project team. If it's a project team, you could have an amazing community and the project team just does a rug, and that's a very different situation. Now, if the community is vibrant and for some reason the community owners do leave, it really comes down to, do you have access to the admin? And even then, I probably would do a slow transition to a new community, because if you don't have ownership and you're building up this community now, one, you don't have particular access to particular features and functions which you will need eventually. But two, the owner could come back and just completely delete the server, change it completely, do whatever they want. And that is not secure. I would never, ever trust a community where the owner, the people who are running it, do not have access to the owner. That's my 2C.
Strong points. I think
I'd like to add to this,
Please.
like sometimes, people approach you, hey, you want to be a moderator for this project. And when for example, for myself, I made a clear decision that I'm not going to be a moderator or a community manager for a project that I don't know who are the owners and the values they have and what the project is about. If it's just a project that you see, for example, you kind of have a feel, like if it's going to be a pump and dump kind of project. So you kind of don't want to associate your name with those type of projects. So I think it's super important to know who are the founders of the project, who is on the team, and what they have done previously as work or what they are doing currently as well. So yeah, those are super interesting points to look out for.
Do not join dump and dump community members.
Sorry.
It's a good one.
Okay, English is not my first language, so
no, it's
forgive me.
right. I think for a lot of us, it is not either. So, and I think it's another thing. It's very important to, like, speaking of language, right? So a lot of brilliant people in crypto who English is not their native language, right? And it's very easy to sometimes to just tell. Or like kind of maybe like discriminate or like join some other communities where like, all right, it's a bunch of like native speakers, but they might not be, we've probably always been sometimes been in communities where it's like person talks flawlessly, but they're not really sure what they're even talking about, right? But they sound very convincing. So I think it's better to avoid those and just stick with those that are right. Maybe they are not as good as at speaking English or at communication, but they see that you can see that the project is legitimate and it's it's moving. Things are being built. Things are being shipped. Anyway,
exactly.
Those are just kind of my two way of advice or comments.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Sometimes you can, like, the project can look super great, super cool, but like you have to have like know if your values are aligned with their values. At least for me, that's how I choose projects with which I want to work. So yeah, and it's unfortunate some people get start a project and don't finish it and things like that.
Cool. Thanks for the comments.
One thing I wanted to add to what you were saying, Raman, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. We have a very wide international community that is connecting in a way that is, in my personal opinion, unless I'm missing something, has never happened before in human history. unless there's a previous existing version of our current reality. You have these spaces going with hundreds of people, some spaces thousands of people, and you have maybe at least 50% of 180 countries represented. And understandably, there's going to be certain cultural conflicts and things that are basically going to be growing pains. And I think as community managers and as project creators in this space, there's a sense to not only ensure the security, like the things Gandalf is saying is really fantastic. I feel like we should be paying him, like $500 an hour for this. He probably charges 10 times that. So it's like really great alpha. But the one thing I keep thinking of also is like, how do we make it so that everybody, no matter like where they're coming from, like I know there's a lot of discussion about like inclusivity and diversity, but it is now like forced upon everybody, like in a good way. But it's like it's here, it's happening now. Like people, and by the way, if you're a non-native English speaker, I don't think you should ever add the word sorry to explaining maybe your lack of English in any way. Just keep working at it. Maybe replace, just personal suggestion, maybe replace the phrase with I'm working on my English, and then go into what you're saying, but never use the word sorry. You shouldn't be sorry. We are all struggling to understand where each other is coming from, but at the end of the day, like we have this unifying platform, and this technology movement happening, and there's a lot of opportunities. Like it's almost a shame there's so many like rug pulls and scams going on, because it's like the real gold is in these personal relationships we're building. Like nobody's going to really widely travel anywhere for like the next year or so, but pretty soon all of us that are meeting are going to be meeting at NFT conventions, metaverse conventions, Web3 conventions. And it's going to be really cool to have been investing in these relationships with each other. So these are the things that I'm thinking of when, Raman, when you're talking about like community building and like community management. Like I think there's a larger sense of cultural responsibility that didn't dawn on me until like literally this week.
Lucky,
I'd
you're
like.
actually really right there. Sorry, Smokey. I'll just add this quick thing and then hand over to you, Smokey.
Yeah, please.
Lucky, what you said is really true about that relational aspect. So true. And I mean, not like I would never call myself an expert, and nobody really in this space should ever call themselves an expert. It's we're all learning together, but I've never ever put community manager, Discord genius, or anything like that in my bio. I've never said that to anybody at all, but people still come to me for advice and like to help them with their Discord servers, etc. And the reason is because the focus is on building that relationship, that network. And it all started, I mean, even though I've been in this space for quite a while, I started coming into these spaces asking questions. And I think that's a really, really important thing to do. I mean, right now spaces is the hot thing, but after spaces, there'll be something else. And like, it'll just keep transitioning from one area to another. But building that connection up is really, really important. And it doesn't take long to start to understand some of the basics of these things. And as you do that, you'll find that you will attract like-minded people. I mean, Raman, I'm still quite honored and humbled that you brought me up, because I certainly wasn't coming to this space. I didn't even realize that it was you when I joined the space. But I guess what I'm trying to say is having community moderator, community manager is not so bad, but like moderator, Discord mod, community expert, all of that is a big red flag for me. I will be very reluctant to deal with somebody who has that in their bio, not because that's a bad thing to say in itself, but you don't need that. Like that's not what modding is about. Modding is about managing people and relationships in reality. It's not about moderating a chat group. The true moderators are actually people managers. and a people manager knows that they don't need to put that title up there for people to see them for who they are. I hope I'm making sense. I'm kind of fumbling around with this because it's kind of a thought that I'm developing here, but it kind of was brought on by what Lucky said. Sorry, Smokey.
No, totally fine. Honestly, that was completely awesome. I just really quickly wanted to touch up on the point that, you know, a lot of times people come in your Discord and say, hey, I'm going to bring the Discord together and community together. And all they do is type in LFG with a bunch of exclamation marks 20 times. And that's not exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about legitimately helping people, right? And legitimately educating the community, because when you educate the community, you turn the money in your community into something called smart money. And having smart money under one roof is a lot more powerful than just having money under one roof, because people will dump otherwise. People who aren't smart and don't understand the vision and don't believe in what you're doing will dump, guaranteed, because they're interested in money, not the vision, not the product. And the thing that's very important to recognize here is, especially between cross-community collaborations and events and all sorts of other things like that, there has to be a real kindling of purpose between these communities, right? And I think that education is really that key factor, keeping people safe, teaching them the red flags. It really gives this other person that sense of gratitude of, wow, this guy's looking out for me. He's actually teaching me and showing me how to invest properly, how to watch out for those red flags. Because if we work together, the Solana community is cozy, it's small. We have this opportunity now to get together, to educate each other, to educate each other's communities, to get innovators to pool their heads together and ideas together to really, really, really take off in a big, big way by having smart, strong, intelligent investors who are educated in each and every step of this, people who can tell the rugs from the good ones, people who understand the tokenomics, people who read light papers, people who are interested in the space and want to develop the Solana community as a whole. If we band together, and all together, I mean, we can get some of the smartest minds in this technology and in this space currently with one of the fastest and cheapest blockchains available right now. And we can easily take off, but it will take education. Education is the key here. Being educated and warned about all the things that could be and all the things that have been is extremely important, and you will never be able to do that alone. Oracles, librarians, all these people needed other people to work with them to document this information, to make this information palatable for the masses, to make this potent potential reach its real height. Because at the end of the day, we are the individuals in the community. And if each and every single one of us reach out to one another and ask, how did you do that? Why did you do that? What is that? Is that like, don't be afraid to sound stupid. The people who are afraid to sound silly will never innovate a damn thing in their entire fucking life. So remember that for the rest of your life as you carry it with you. You need other people. You need to learn from other people. Any good teacher is perpetually a student, and we all can be students together to learn together at a higher level of education that has never been available for any kind of money to buy.
All right, cool. Thanks so much, Smokey. Very good points. Very inspirational speech. Cool. I think we had a Zoe in a speaker position for quite some time now. Could you please introduce yourself? Are you managing a community right now? Are you like leading a community right now? Any tips and tricks that you've seen so far?
Hi, yeah, I actually came up because I was wondering for Jerry, but I will tell it later. I have my own projects and I opened my own Discord, so I'm managing my own Discord, building my own Discord, literally doing it right now. And I'm also a moderator in the Toy Boogers Discord, a really fun project, a super nice project. And then I'm also modding in a Discord, another Discord from one of the European board apes that I know, which is also a super nice community. So I'm a big fan on Discord. I love maintaining but also entertaining a community there because I first started on Clubhouse, building community, and then coming over here to Twitter. But I have to say that I really had to learn how to do it on Discord. Because one thing, collecting a community, I don't know if I have a better word for it, but collecting a community is one thing, but actually maintaining it is a whole different story. I think people underestimate it when it comes to that. If you want to be a moderator, I don't know how many mods they would have in a project, but know that it's a lot of work. Like, do not underestimate being a moderator. And I think I think it was Gandalf what you said there about you should be a people person and not use it as a certain standard status. I 100% agree with that, because it's not about that. It's really about being like connecting with humans, right? You need to have that in you. So I'm also gonna be on the search for moderators as my project is growing. And the one thing I'm looking always for is people who are social, because I've noticed with myself the reason I can keep it up right now is because I'm a very social person. I talk a lot, but the funny thing is I'm an introvert extrovert, so I actually like being by myself 90% of the time, which worked really good during the pandemic and works good for Discord, because I'm working, like I said, on my own NFTs, so I can also work during that in Discord, so that I'm like someone who likes to communicate with people. It works really well. So I think it's gonna be hard to find good moderators. I don't know how you guys think about that, because what I've noticed is that some people quit. They can't keep up because it is super intense, more intense than you would think. So I wonder how that's gonna be. And I actually, for Jerry, I was like, because I know from other projects that some projects actually rugged themselves and they left, and then the community was the one taking over. And then I was thinking, if he is the community manager and the people from the project are still there, because that's what I was understanding, then the people behind the project should be the one who are also looking for new community mods and stuff. So I didn't understand his concern exactly, so I had actually questions for him, but he left. But yeah, I wonder what you guys thoughts are on good moderators, because I think it's going to be one of the most valuable jobs out there as Discord grows, because you're going to need those people, and you, like you guys said, you're going to need to trust those people. So it's going to be super important to have community mods and community managers.
I actually want to kind of answer that if that's all right. I think some of the best mods are the mods that want to move up. The best mods are the mods that are so dedicated to the project that they tell you, you know what, I can see the project funds are low this month. Don't pay me. Obviously, you still pay them, but the fact that these people are willing to do that, you can see somebody's willing to take some sort of self-sacrifice. Let's say there's a whitelist spot that there's only one left and it's him or someone else. If he's willing to give that up to that other person because they're a holder and not a teammate, that's a good mod. Somebody who's willing to take a little bit of sacrifice for the greater good of the project and really wants to actually move up. I've started many businesses myself. I know I sound quite young, but I've actually started many contracting businesses and construction businesses, and I'm used to dealing with quite a gruff character. And I can tell you that a lot of times when you hire some of these guys, some of them will piss around and they'll straight up like just do nothing because they don't respect you. They don't respect you, period. You're screwed. There's nothing you can do about that. If somebody doesn't respect you and they work for you, they're going to abuse every single second they can. So you have to really see the person you're dealing with when you're not there. And that's the lovely part about Discord. It's all right there, every single bit. If you want, you go back, you check the performance of your worker. And if he did not perform the way you needed him to perform, you have to mention it. I mean, listen, obviously don't be a tight ass. I mean, there comes a point where like, yeah, I seen my guy on the phone once in a while, or like he skirted off to get a coffee, but at the end of the day, he finished the job on time. Nobody was hurt. He was being perfectly safe. He was up to code or whatever. That's fine. That's totally fine. But if you can see your guy is clearly slacking, not answering questions, or maybe being rude even, or clearly just has a short temper, or whatever the case is, clearly that's a bad mod and you need to get rid of him right away, especially because it could be a detriment to the professionalism of your product or your company or whatever, right? I mean, for instance, we welcome FUD at our project. We literally beg people to come FUD us. No joke. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I'm telling you, we beg people to FUD us. We tell them, please come, try your hardest to FUD our floor, because we'll buy at lower A, and that's if you even manage to get it out of the hands of our holders. And B, you're only adding to our credibility, because all we're going to do is answer you sincerely and politely and look like professionals, and you're going to look like an asshole. And by the end of it, most people even end up buying the NFT and being like, wow, these guys were so professional. They dealt with me. I tried my best to give them a hard time and simply couldn't. It's that solid of a project. Done.
Cool.
So
just
that's
wanted
one thing I would
to
mention.
add, yeah, thanks, man. Wanted to add to also Zoe's point that how to find like the best community managers, and I think for anyone in crypto, like anyone hiring in crypto, finding like an existing individual who is already all qualified or 100% qualified for the role you're looking for, it's almost impossible. You always need to look for someone who is about maybe like 70% there or 80% there and wants to grow, and nurturing that person, whether it's a developer, marketeer, community manager, engineer. It's almost impossible to find someone who is like already 100%. And even if you find and attract them, in a lot of situations they will be just get bored very fast because they already been there, done that. So I think like just coming to places like we're hosting today, and nurturing your existing maybe community managers, advising them to join and listen, learn, ask questions. That is much more kind of valuable and actually realistic approach to like finding and improving the talent in your existing kind of circle in your community, instead of kind of expecting that someone, some prince on a white horse or lady on a I don't know, on wings, on angel wings, will come down on you and bless your community with the wisdom and experience. So yeah, I think nurturing someone who has the potential is a better approach, more realistic approach, and it's a huge win-win. Yeah, these are my two my comments that I want to add here. We had Gandalf, go ahead.
I was going to add a couple more points to that, and you are right there about every single mod that I know that is quality and experience is already taken. I can't even find more than one or two mods at a time that have super high qualifications. And so what I will always suggest to projects is find one person that you trust. They might not be great, but at least have one person who can bring up other people from your community. And as you grow before mint, you might be able to get away with offering people NFTs as part of your, if you're a PFP and got quite a large number of NFTs, then you can offer that to them. Some mods will work for free, and I think it's very important to make a very clear decision about whether you're going to have a free mod group or a paid mod group. And the reason why is because if you don't have that clear distinction internally, not amongst the community, but internally, then there will be missed expectations. And I've seen this before. I've had this happen to me as well. And you'll have some conflict in the mod team as to what is required, what is not required, and make sure you're very, very clear on those expectations. And so, like I was saying about people who, the mod should be people managers, they don't need to be a mod to manage people. Community members can do that in themselves. And I think Smokey mentioned about, are they willing to give up their last whitelist spot to another community member to keep the peace? Do they know how to diffuse a situation? Do they know how to engage people in conversation that's going to continue on? Do they know how to provide information in such a way where it's not blowing their own horn, but just answering the person's question? Do they know how to respond to criticism in a way that can be supportive and create a positive environment as opposed to a negative space? These are the sort of things that I'll look for. And then either if the person has approached me to be a mod, like I mentioned before, I'll normally give them minimal position. But before that, I'll actually tell them, all right, let me watch you. I'm going to get the other mods to keep an eye out. And we're going to see how well you can handle people just in general. And the idea is that we want to see your people skills. And so if they are committed, they will have no issues in doing that for a couple of weeks, because 2 weeks is neither here nor there. Chances are they're probably already doing that to start off with. And this can be a great way if you don't have anybody in your community that you have seen. Reach out to your friends in this space, say, hey, look, I need a couple of community managers, and just get random people, bring them into your server as a community member and see how they perform there for a couple of weeks. Then give them the junior mod role, and then maybe after 3 months or 6 months, bring them to a senior mod role. Now, within the EtherCard server, which is one of the servers that I manage, we have a fully structured ambassador program for our mods, and the mods know about it, and some community members know about it, but we do not promote it, because I do not want mods who are going to be there asking to mod for the money or for the pay. It is still a volunteer position for them, and they get compensated because we appreciate them, but it is still a volunteer position. But because they're compensated, there are responsibilities and expectations from our end that they have to complete, i.e. they have to be online for between 8 to 12 hours during their particular time zone. They have to be posting at least once an hour. Even if there's no conversation going, just post something about an announcement, reminding people about what's going on in the project, whatever it ends up being. Give them clear structures on how to handle a situation, what the rules are. If somebody is causing conflict, whether it's the 3 strikes rule, or whether it's you mute them, or whether it's you tag, like let's say they might be a junior mod and they might not be comfortable in banning or dealing with that conflict, get them straight away to tag you and make sure that you're available at the times that you're needed, things like that. I hope that helps answer, in addition to what Raman was saying.
Yeah, pretty good. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, can I reply really quickly? I think there were a lot of good things said. The only thing I really, really disagree with is not paying moderators, and here is why. Unless you're a startup, like you're a beginning project, or you're a small project or one-of-one artist, it's nice to have your friends or people you trust and moderate your Discord. It's not going to be crazy crowded yet. But when you are having a collectible project, let's say 2,000, 3,000 up there, 10,000, and you're going to have moderators and you already launched, for anyone in this room, I don't care if you're a junior mod or like do the next level, you need to get paid, because if you need to be somewhere 8 to 12 hours, it is super intensive, especially when it's a community that's quite big. So I don't care how much you're
I
going to
do
get
want to point.
paid, because those communities, those collectible projects, they make a lot of money. They get secondaries. They should be paying people, especially if people are going to be there for so many hours. Again, if it's like a small project, and I'm talking really small, and it's like a starting artist, help them out and grow together. But if it's already an accomplished project, or they're about to launch, after the launch, they need to pay you, because they make a lot of money, and they should appreciate people putting those hours, because being a community manager or being a mod is not a joke. It's super intensive.
Right. I think that's
sure.
why Gandalf was pointing out the difference between junior and senior mods, and that like you do not get, start being paid just because you requested that. You need to still build trust. I just want to let Gandalf add to that, like what are his views in terms of, why pay, why not pay.
Just to clarify what I was saying on that, and you are right there. Zoe, is that right?
Yeah, Zoe.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely, you're right. It can be tricky though for one-on-one artists, because sometimes they don't make sales for quite some time, and it can be really difficult if they've committed to pay some mods on a monthly basis, but they're not making any sales. That's not a viable option for them. Whereas for a PFP project that has maybe they're starting out, they might not have funds to start with, and so they might offer some NFTs. But as soon as they launch and they've raised $1 million, absolutely, if they're not willing to pay you, that's a red flag, 100%. But I think the other thing is to be clear. Make sure that you understand what you are asking of them, of the mods. Make sure that you're clear. If you're going to pay them, that they understand that there's a responsibility for that. It doesn't necessarily mean that they need to be saying, okay, I'm going to quit my job and do that. But if I'm going to pay you, I expect this, 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 and make that very clear to them. If you're not going to pay them, make it clear that you're not going to pay them, but then you can't ask for a lot of those responsibilities that you would expect of a paid mod.
To add an extra layer of clarity to what Gandalf was saying there, so I think that, you know, people who essentially are, you know, coming in as mods at the beginning, they typically, especially in a smaller project that, you know, hasn't generated that many secondaries and whatnot and doesn't have those kinds of funds, I think maybe to further Gandalf's point is there should be a probationary period for bigger projects so they don't get crappy mods and so that they can actually have some control over that pay, and they can say, hey, we have the right to refuse to pay you because you're in your probationary period or whatever. As well as I think also what Gandalf was trying to say is that in these smaller projects, right, obviously it's up to them to pay what they want, right? But at the same time, if the project's just not making the money because the volume's not there, then they have nothing to pay. So in a sense, what mods who come into these programs should know is that obviously if they're going to be making a lot of money and the project's making a lot of money, then the mod's going to be very busy, therefore in turn doing a harder job and deserves more pay. But if there is very, very little volume, I think that should fall under the same probationary clause in the sense that the probationary period goes both ways. It's not only the behavior of the mod, it's also the strength of the project, which is why the mod has to be invested in the project and actually interested in the progress of the project. And I think that that's a very, very lucrative way of doing that, because I mean, that's what happened to me and many other people that I know that joined popular projects that did decently and eventually, you know, brought in some real profits from royalties and stuff. And what I can see is generally, it just doesn't make sense to pay anybody at the beginning because you're taking out from the project's pocket money in which you need to reinvest in the project if you actually care about it. I've started many companies, and I promise you, you cannot continue your company without reinvesting most of your capital at first. When you start at the beginning, you're not exactly going to have seed investors and VC out the wazoo just handing you money for no reason. It's an extremely difficult thing to do, and a lot of people even dip into their own savings or go into debt to be able to maintain their businesses to pay it off in the long run. Sorry, I talk an immense amount. I really apologize for that, guys.
Cool. Thanks so much for the contribution.
I'd like to chime in and add some of my background to this question, if possible.
Could you please intro yourself really quick so that we know? Thanks, Mike.
Absolutely, yeah. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Valo. I'm part of the core team over at the Apocalyptic Apes. I specialize in technology and cybersecurity, and outside of the project, my day job is working in a cybersecurity function. I've been doing that for a little over a decade. So when it comes to the pay thing for mods, I think it's setting expectations, right? Every project owner wants to handle the pay different, right? And my personal opinion is, you know, it might make sense to pay some mods. It might make sense to not pay some or take care of them in a different fashion. And I think we need to tie it back to the value they're adding to the project, right? Similar to in a traditional sense, when you work for a company, not everyone is providing the same value to the company. Not everyone's going to be paid the same amount, right? So I think it's if you apply, you know, some of the basic compensation rules from the traditional business world, right, to these NFT projects, you can come to an arrangement where everyone is happy. But like Smokey had mentioned, right, if you're a startup, you might not be, you know, an NFT project that has a ton of money in the beginning. Depends on the project, right? You might be able to pay people day one, you might not. Sometimes you can take care of them with NFTs, like some people mentioned, but it just personally, I think you should have a one-on-one with every mod that you bring in, find out their expectation for compensation, and try and work with them on it. And to add on to that, I think what makes a good mod in general is someone who's a holder, right? They're personally invested. They want the project to moon because they will personally profit from it, right? And if you're looking for a good mod, I would recommend someone with a tech background, right? This is a tech space. community members are going to be asking tech questions, right? How do I move stuff to my wallet? If you have someone that has a tech background, that's going to help you tremendously, right? If they're in that mod role. And that's kind of what I had for that piece.
Raman, do you know Valho? Have you met him before?
No.
He's some pretty good quality, and he knows his stuff, especially on the security side of things.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for joining the space and asking for speaker permission and for the golden nuggets of information. We have a few people with raised hands. Vignesh wanted to ask something, or maybe he wants to remind me that I should announce something. Vignesh?
Okay, I'll leave the announcement up to you. But yeah, I had like more of a question to Gandalf. Like when he started off, he said they're having like a very hard time finding good quality community managers. So like what, like how do you qualify someone as a good community manager when you're hiring? Like you know, like you've not worked with them like for a few weeks or something like that. So like what? Like you know, like yeah, what qualifies someone as a good community manager when you're hiring them?
No matter what I say to you, it's not going to be a perfect recipe and to find the best community manager. So do bear with me here, because you might find somebody that fits everything I say and they turn out to be rubbish, or you might find somebody who doesn't fit what I say and they might be amazing. But the things that I look for when I'm looking now, community manager and a moderator are technically two different roles. So the community manager is normally the person who takes care of the entire community as a whole, generally speaking, and will take care of things like the communication between the moderators and the team. They'll take care of making the final decisions on any issues that the mods might have, or they might be the ones to figure out how to communicate different messages, run certain events, engagement tools, things like that. Like Valo was saying, the more tech focused, the better. I wouldn't say it's absolutely 100% critical, but if I had the choice, I would always look for somebody who has a tech background and tech focused. The only problem though is the more tech focused they are, sometimes they will lack in people skills. So that can be a bit tricky. So trying to find that balance is a little bit tricky. So having understanding in tech and a way that can sometimes, in Valho, feel free to disagree with me here after I say this, but one thing that kind of helps me with that is if they've been in the space for a while, they may not necessarily have worked from the tech perspective, but they might understand enough to be able to manage, so to speak. Again, that's not saying that you need to hire somebody who's been in the space for 5 or 10 years. I mean, you might find somebody who's got a tech background who's come in from just 2 months and they worked in the HR and, or not HR, but like maybe community and customer engagement in a tech focused project, then they might be perfect for you. So tech focused, being able to manage community, being able to really be engaging on Twitter is often a really good indicator, and not engaging like just saying good morning to everybody and getting lots of likes and retweets.
Yeah, there's some profiles that just do retweets. Well.
Yes, I know. So being engaging in conversational topics and threads that make a difference. And sometimes I'll even look to see if people that I respect highly will actually engage with them. And if they do, that says a lot to me. And it's not because it's, oh, you have to know the right people and you have to be friends with them. But generally speaking, what that will say to me is this person is around enough that these people who also know what makes a good community manager or a quality person in this space, they can recognize that of this person, and they've kind of done that work for me. Does that make sense at all?
Hey,
yeah,
Gandalf, that made a lot of
like it makes sense that, you know, like yeah, it's not like a perfect process, because like a lot of it is like people skills. There's no like good yardstick to measure it. Yeah.
something I'd like to add on to that. So I think if you have two individuals who you're considering for a mod, and one of them has people skills, one of them has tech skills, I personally would go with the person that has people skills. Reason being, I believe it's much easier to teach people tech skills if they're willing to learn. I think people skills are much harder to teach, right? So if you're in that scenario, go with the people person. However, if you find someone that has both, that's, you know, almost a unicorn, and you should grab them as quick as you can.
Can
Hi,
I
Yeah.
Big
say to
Nash.
that,
It's
especially the last part,
oh, go
what you
ahead.
said there, Grandolph? I think when I hear this question, same as for me, right? Because I had the same with mods, because I'm like in spaces and stuff, and you just look at people, or you just listening into spaces, and you get to know the community, and you get to make friends. I feel like being in different kind of Discord, but also starting a year ago already on Clubhouse with this. I've seen how teams have been building, and how people then also pick, like, I don't know how to say the right mods, but the mods and the community managers, which is actually most of them are super organic. Like some of my friends, like we're all linked to someone else for some reason. Like people know each other, because even this community is super small, right? It's like our own bubble, our own world where we live in, so everyone kind of know each other. So I feel like the organic way is, for me personally, the best way to go. Like if I would look right now for a moderator or for a manager, I probably will ask also one of my friends, which I already did. Like I just asked him in the DMs, like, hey, who do you think? Because they are also already know someone else that they probably know really well. So I know it may take a bit more time, but for me, the most, like, the answer is still, because we're also early and it's annoying to say, but it's so true. It's still being in this community, getting to know the people, getting to know what's going on. And I feel like that way you can pick organically your moderators and your community managers. And what I've seen happening, because we also work a lot, for example, with Toy Bookers, we just work cross communities. So like we work with like the Dead Fellas or the Cool Cats or whatever, which means like those communities get to know each other. So when they start a new project, they pick people who are already in the community to help them actually mod that new Discord. And that's for me the most organic way how people get to like employ like moderators and community managers, because they're already in certain communities. So yeah, I think for me the answer is like just be in a community and you get to know the people, and then you will have a gut feeling who could be a good community manager. Of course, next to the technical stuff, which is it a people person, and are they really technical when it also comes to Discord and stuff? But yeah.
That is really true. And there was something I'd like to add, but I think Lucky, you wanted to say something first.
Yeah, let's
Or
jump to
and
that.
if you did.
Yeah, I was just going to add that at the end of the day, Vignesh, like it all comes down to the human element. And as if you're a project creator and a project leader, like you set that tone. Like nobody's going to come in and set that tone higher than you are, and they shouldn't. You set that gold standard, and you know, if you want your mods to be people, like people persons, then you have to set that example. And even if you're not the most perfect at it, I think just the attempts to hop into spaces, ask people questions, always be learning, always be asking questions makes up a whole lot for a lack of knowledge or experience in some categories. And it gives you an opportunity to kind of learn the kind of work you will be giving to other people. I myself, I'm in this 17 hours a day. Like I'm on spaces at least no less than 5 hours a day, averaging for the past week, like 10 hours a day, either listening, either talking, DMing with people, collaborating with people, and trying to understand more and more and more, so that when I go on to build out the team, I know what kinds of responsibilities to delegate, and I know what kind of training and support to provide for people trying to essentially grow and replicate what has been working up until the point of expansion. Because while not everything that gets you to a certain point will continue to work, you will have certain things that you want to keep doing, and you want them to be done with the same high quality standard. Like I know this is in some directions a false equivalency, but it's kind of you think of like a franchise restaurant that runs really tight ships, and they make sure any location you go to, they all have like the same kinds of napkins, and they're all folded the same way, and they go and they make sure like under the waste receptacle is like perfectly clean, and then you have the same three ingredients or the same three sauce toppings at every single. They've created a standardized process, not so well on one hand for cost reduction, but largely to create and give you that comfort of the same expectation when you're coming in, because the people that are going to be growing with you in the beginning, you're going to want them to stick around. You don't want them to see a drop in the community quality.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, there's something that Zoe said that really reminded me of something that I think is really, 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 really important to get across to a lot of new projects that are coming up. And that is, don't launch until you have your community sorted out. There is no need to launch by a particular date. Build your community, get to know them. From there, you'll get some, like Zoe was saying, you'll get some organic people who come through and kind of shine through and can be brought up as mods and maybe even a community manager. Build that up first and then do your launch and then do your mint. And it might mean that, sure, you get delayed a couple of months or 3 months, or you don't even have a set date until you've got your community sorted out. But I can't stress enough how much that will impact your project during mint and after mint. And if you set a date and then start building out your project and your community, if you set a date, then start building out your community, it's going to be stressful. You're going to feel a lot of pressure to try and meet that date, which will be very, very difficult. Just generally speaking, it's always going to be difficult. And you're not going to have the structure in place for your mods. Then you're going to be trying to build your community, get that engagement, get the sustainability, get the mods going, all at the same time while you're minting. Then you're going to, after mint, you're not going to be able to take a rest. You're going to be even more busy. You're going to have so much more work to do. You're going to have to grow your team as well. You're going to have to build out processes. You're going to have project managers. The list goes on. So please build your community, take your time. When your community is sustainable and you've got the structure set up in place properly, then think about launching.
What Gandalf just described is pretty much a straight road to burnout. And when you burn out, you leave the Discord as an owner. What Jerry described earlier. So anyway, I just wanted to give an opportunity to everyone to speak who joined. So we have Caroline as well. She had her hand raised for some time. Please unmute yourself, make a quick intro, ask a question, share your journey so far.
Hola.
Hello.
It's nice to see you all. I saw some friends in here, so I wanted to jump in. And I love this subject, and this is also something that I've been working on. So I was just listening in on Lucky, on Zoe, on Gandalf, and I can only agree. It's really good to find your community managers organically and also via other Discords. Not necessarily like taking them away from there, but just meeting maybe people that are active in another Discord who you think like, oh, they might actually be good for mine. Although I have tried this and often they're already quite busy, so didn't work out so far. But still, it gives you a good idea of what a good community manager also is, just to see them in other Discords and how they function and what they're doing and how they communicate. So it gives you an idea of the ones that you want. And then I just wanted to touch on the last thing that Gandalf just said about not choosing your mint date, because indeed the community is so important. Like right now with my project, I've said it's coming in March, and I might actually change that later to either another date or I might take it away again. I'm not even sure if I'm going to keep it up there, although I feel like March right now for us is a doable time frame, because indeed the community has started to grow, and we've been growing it for 4 months now, so it does take some time, and at some point you start seeing also what you really need. So I find this really interesting. I was checking out your profile, Aman, and with the crypto jobs list, and honestly I think like this is, I don't know, I haven't been able to check out the website yet because I jumped in there, I checked out your profile but not the website yet. But there is such a need for good managers, people who can really set up secure Discords. That's something that I'm very intrigued by right now, because I set up my, honestly I had no idea how to set up a Discord server, so I ordered like a Discord server service on Fiverr to get it up, and now and now I've been making so much changes, and people have been advising me on what to throw out because there was so much junk. So anybody, don't do that.
I think just to comment really quick, I think Gandalf should start, and Walho and anyone else here should start like a Coursera course on how to manage a Discord server. come again.
I'm actually, hi Caroline, good to see you again.
Hey.
And maybe I need to talk with you about your Discord. Raman, funny you mentioned that because I actually have a team that I'm putting together. It's going to be ready in a couple of weeks of very, very high quality community managers that have managed some fairly large projects and have been in the space for a very long time and have lots of skills on marketing and everything, and Discord devs. And we're going to be building it out specifically to hire out to projects that need that support so that they don't have to go to Fiverr and find a Discord building service. And then on top of that, building out some free products and free documentation on guides, step-by-step guides with screenshots on how to set up a server securely, how to onboard mods. I've got a mod Bible, which is about 50 pages long for community managers to go through and pull out the information they need to go through with their mods, because mod education is a very, very serious thing and needs to be done correctly. So I agree with you.
I wish exactly like that I had that. Fortunately enough, with the Fiverr, the only thing I did was just like the setup. So this guy really just imported like a template, obviously. So I was stupid, but I had no idea about this stuff. But it's so important, and also being able to offer the service, because I think, for example, for me with my project, obviously I have barely any funds, so I could almost not pay for a team, but I think there's plenty who already have something set up and who would be able to pay for it, and it's a very worthy investment in my opinion. So like if I had a little bit more, I would not even doubt it for a second, but I would run with it because it's so important. And if you have, because that actually goes further than just a setup, right? You have the secure Discord, but you also have people really helping you to build it out at first. And if you say they are like community managers, they know how to sort of set up the conversation, make sure that the engagement gets started, and that is such an important part of it. So if you can have like a team that is well vetted and that has experience with it, then if you think your project is going to be a success, well, and if you are like a bigger project, then it's so worth the upfront investment probably. And it's always a risk because you don't know if it's going to work out. And I also think that you as a team, Gandalf, you guys have to vet out the projects that you want to work with. But yeah, absolutely, I think there's so much market for that.
Can
The
I
same
say
for
that?
these crypto jobs is. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I actually because I'm doing my own Discord. Like I always say, I'm a one woman army, and it sounds more romantic than it is because it's not. It's a lot of work. So I'm
Yeah.
just yeah, I'm just organically gathering a team right now. But what helped for me was actually YouTube, to be honest. And I did it when I was 15, right? Then I also learned myself the Adobe programs and stuff. So I actually use YouTube to do also my Discord, and I have a lot to learn still. But also when it comes up to like setting a team, because I launched a small project, it's not like a big collectible, because I think you have a big collectible. Like mine is only like less than 500 tokens. So I didn't have like needed a whole team, but I actually also started with zero. Like after that, I got like after launching, I got a little bit of eat. So then I hired like a 3D designer to make the product in like 3D. But I literally started with zero eat, so it can be done. It's just a lot of work. But I think on the way, you also meet people who want to team up with you and want to help you. But it is super hard. So I think you're absolutely right. It's super hard to find the right people because this space is so young. So for most people, it's like, why would I do that if I can set everything up myself? And also, like, because most of us are artists, right? So it's a little bit difficult, but I think it comes also down to equity, and that's maybe more a business kind of side where it's like, okay, I'm willing, because for me it's my baby. And like what I'm doing, I make those bags back in 2013, so I'm like, okay, am I willing to split it? And the answer is yes, because I rather own like a small or a good portion of something that's really big than 100% of something that's super small, right? So then it comes down to equity and being like, I'm a startup, and if you step in, I'm willing to give you that much percentage. And yeah, then hopefully you find the right people who are going to work as hard as you do, and we all know it really never is like that, right?
Yeah,
But
100%. I relate like with
yeah,
everything you say because I've also
but I
found
guess it's
really
just
good people
organically.
organically now.
Yeah,
Yeah, and you can
exactly.
learn
I
a lot.
guess it's organic building again. That's like the thing we're gonna like look at it at it this way, because we are so small, like what is it, 2% or something of the whole world population, and we're starting at some, it means that there's so many opportunities. That's why this space moves so quickly. But look at it this way, maybe it's hard right now to find the right people, but as we are building teams right now and this space is going to get bigger, it's going to get easier, right? Because those people are, it sounds maybe a bit effed up, but that's why I think WAGME is definitely true, because the people coming in a few years from now are actually going to be people who probably mostly look for a job in Web3, and then it becomes hopefully a bit easier for us to find the right people to work with. But we are the like, how do you say, the ground players right now, so it's a bit more difficult for us, because just like with smart contracts, we try to learn them, and now you have manifold, like everything gets a bit more easier. So really love and respect to everyone right now building, because it's not easy.
Yeah, and also I must say, like what you said about like right now you found many people organically, and I think that even if you look at it as like the business, and if you have a way bigger project, and if you're not like a one-on-one artist or just an artist making like a big collection, whatever, if you're going for like a PFP project, because I imagine that those are the ones that would earlier be the ones that Gandalf focuses on with these bigger teams. But even then, starting out organically with just like the team behind it is probably the best, because then you can set the tone and really define who you want as your audience. So even then I think that's the best approach. I know I was jumping in before, like somebody else wants to come up, so I will shut up now.
Are
But
you
I
Dutch?
completely agree. Yeah, absolutely. I know you're Dutch
Oh,
too. My
I
accent is
heard it by your
undeniable.
accent.
Cool.
Nice.
I
I
just
have a
wanted.
super strong Dutch accent, and I've decided to be okay with it and even proud of it. I used to hate it when I was growing up. I was like, I want a British accent, and I'm like, you know what?
Lol.
Whatever, this is me.
Okay, I'm not alone in this then.
I just wanted yeah, thanks so much, Carolina and Zoe, for this conversation, really engaging. I just wanted to point out something, that this space has been live for 2 hours and it's been super amazing so far. So really appreciate everyone sharing their knowledge, experience, and wisdom. And kind of what we do during these spaces every week is again, we give out as well POAP tokens as like just sign of appreciation and just to reward people in some ways. Yeah, and again, they're free to mint, so you can just mint them. And again, like Vignesh was helping me out as well with requesting them from POAP, and yeah, they always give us not enough. So, but anyway, so I'm just gonna share the instructions how to claim them this time, and it's also gonna be an excellent opportunity to get familiar with the website. Going back to what Caroline mentioned, that so yeah, if you're at your laptop or on your phone, kind of this is the time. So anyway, so the way you claim POAP for today's event, for this current event, is basically you need to go to cryptojobslist.com and then find CryptoJobsList company page on CryptoJobsList. I know it sounds meta, but CryptoJobsList also is hiring on CryptoJobsList. So anyway, you need to find our company page within our website, and there you will see like a widget where you enter your email and Twitter handle, and we'll send you a POAP redemption link. I think we have 200 of them, and yeah, hope it's going to be enough for everyone. Right now we have 117 people in the channel, so hopefully everyone will manage to claim them as within a reasonable period of time. We did notice that during first events that we organized, I think people were kind of maybe double claiming them, so we're trying to create methods to make it easier to make it harder to kind of spoof or double claim, and to make it easier to claim if you've been kind of engaged with the space. Yeah, that's my kind of quick comment. Let me know if you have any issues doing that. And again, we're not trying to make it too easy, just for those who are engaged and being around and following the space and following these Twitter spaces. Yeah, again, we've been doing that weekly, and this Twitter space today is more of an experimental where everyone's just talking about community management, and I think this has been amazing. We should be doing more of these. Yeah. Let's see. Who else did not have a chance to speak? Alibaba, I feel, had a hand raised for quite some time, but did not had a chance to speak. If you quickly can introduce yourself without shilling too much, ideally, and just share maybe some questions or tips on what had been said earlier, or just general tips on community management, maybe silver bullets that you've discovered. Yeah, Alibaba, just unmute yourself. There we go.
Oh, yeah. Good day, everyone. I'm Ali Baba. I'm from Nigeria. I transitioned from the real estate industry to Web3, and I just want to make an observation from what I've learned so far in the community. I think community management should also entail education, because what you have lately is practically every project wants engagement on their platforms, but then those platforms are just so centered on their project alone, and the fact that this ecosystem is still young and is still upcoming. I think there's need for community managers, for project owners to also include education into their projects. That way, when you're having people subscribing to your channels or to your platforms, they are not just going to learn about your project, they're also going to learn about the Web3 itself. Is it going to be about cryptocom? Is it going to be about NFT? Is it going to be about layers? Is it going to anything? But then there need to be more education. That education thing, I think that education part is what is usually absent from a lot of projects. All they get to do is just try to promote their project. Anyway, I understand that everybody wants to promote his project, but then how do you rationalize a platform having 50,000 subscribers or users, but then on the date of mints, you have less than 15 or 20% of your collectibles to be minted, which means that most people are there, but either are not active or are not part of the community. So that way, when you have people's engagement, you are teaching people, even if they get to mint or if they're going to be part of your project, fine and good. And if not, they are still going to learn from your platform. So that's what I have as an observation. And I think project owners should look at for this as an addendum to their programs. Thank you, everyone.
I think that's a really good point. And that what you've said, Alibaba, is essentially when you get a project that has done crazy community growth, but they haven't focused on who their target audience is, and so they've got this crazy growth, but most of them are either fake, they're bots, disinterested, or don't understand the project. And all of that is essentially saying that they're not your target audience. And so a project with 2,000 in your Discord or wherever it ends up being that you're hosting your community can sell out, whereas a project with 50,000 or 100,000 might not, depending on how they've marketed to their target audience.
Absolutely. If I can add to that real quick, it's all about the relationship that you're building with people. I think it's very easy to get caught up in. I just got caught up in the fact that we crossed 1,000 followers on our Twitter account today. But then, I was quickly sobered through a conversation I had with somebody that I met very early in this game, and he reminded me, well, those milestones are important, but it really is about the depth of those relationships. Kind of don't forget that. And it was fantastic. So literally past 5-6 hours in my mind, I've just been thinking about, okay, how do we deepen these relationships? How do we basically connect on a level that's greater than buy my project? And I think it's both an inspiration and a challenge.
Yeah, I'll add something to that. So I think it comes down to one, your project having, real world value and utility, and then building a community and a family, right? I have to use the word family. I think Apocalyptic Apes, I consider it to be my family. And there's a few things that you can do to make it feel that way, right? So picking the right people, having the right team behind you, certainly helps you get there.
Cool. Someone was about to ask a question on NFT. Gaga wanted to contribute.
Yeah, I'd like to ask a question. So you guys have been saying setting standards and building having a family. So do you guys think like creating a community culture, it's something that we should think about and like set that standard instead of like being like, this is how I do it and you should do like this. Instead of that, like being like, okay, we are this community in this niche, for example, and let's learn together, since this is a new space, let's learn together how to create a culture around this. And I think, yeah, that could be a way of looking at that. And another thing I'd like to point out is regarding onboarding mods or like a community managers. I'm not a NFT creator yet, collection creator, but the way, for example, how I became a moderator, because I was a community member. I was super passionate about the project. And when I approached the founder and I said, I am super passionate about what you're doing, I'd love to help you. And so that's how I became a moderator. And I think the reason why this could be interesting to hire moderators from your own community, because first, they came to the community because they had interest in what you're doing. And second, if he approached you and say, hey, I'm ready to volunteer because I believe in your project, I love what you're doing, that means maybe later on you can hire him, but for sure that person will stay with you for a long time, because you don't want to, I don't think you want to mint and then the person getting his pre-sale spots and then moving on to another project and things like that. I think, like it could be interesting to look 1 year from now, 2 years from now, like I want to keep this type of people with me. So that could be something to think about. I'm super new to this space. I am also just learning. And a third thing I would like to say to Zoe, actually, I am in your Discord. We were on other spaces the other day. And I love the way how you set up your Discord. It looks very visually, it looks so beautiful. It's just, I'm in love. I've never seen a Discord set up like yours yet. So I think you're doing such a good job. And actually, are you the one who created it?
Yeah. Oh my God. Thank you so much.
I love the way how you set it up. Yeah. If I will be setting up my Discord, I say to myself, this is an example how I would like to do it.
I'm actually not finished at all because I'm literally in this space while working on my Discord. But you're the type of person I'm doing this for, because I said to people like Discord should cater to your community, right? Mine is not. Oh, now there's lots of people entering. Mine is maybe not crazy crowded as a 10K project or whatever project, but that's because mine is catering to people who are visual. So when you said this is visual, like the aesthetic is pleasing, I'm like, oh my God, thank you. It isn't there yet because trust me, there needs to be much more things in the Discord. So everyone who's entering, I'm still under construction. But thank you so much for that compliment, because that really gives me like the power to continue, because
yes, you're doing such a great job. I really loved it. I'm not really active in your Discord yet, but I joined like a week ago. So I'll try to be more active.
So Zoe, don't get mad if mine starts to look like yours.
we're actually working on getting it more active, because I'm working on so many things that I was mostly working on production of my product, and now we're making a plan like how to get the Discord active. And with that, I want to advise so many people to be a moderator in other Discords, because then you actually learn how to maintain like a Discord community, because having collector is one thing, but actually building that community is like a whole different story.
Yeah, Zoe, full disclosure, I copied the Bored Ape Yacht Club's Discord server when I set mine up. And then like a month in, like I started like making adjustments as I went. So anybody that's shy about where to start, sometimes you just got to look at the one of the gold standards.
Yeah.
Super quick Twitter housekeeping. Twitter has a limit of 12 speakers in Twitter Spaces. So I'll be demoting someone or removing them from speakers. Please don't be offended. Hope you had a fun time. I'll just want to give more people.
You can take me down if you want
Hey,
specifically.
Ramen, I'll go ahead and step down because I
Wow,
actually got to
this is
run
very
anyway.
generous of you guys.
Yeah,
Sure.
Ramen, I'm going
Thanks
to step
everyone for
out too
having
so
me.
I can continue cross-pollinating ideas. I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
I feel now everyone's is leaving.
I wanted to say the
No,
same, but
no.
now
Me
the
as
stage
well.
is getting empty.
honestly, I'll tell you the truth. It's 8:30 here. I've been working all night, and my mods all just woke up from their time zone. So I think I'm gonna let my mods do their work. They're good people, and I'm gonna let them do their thing, as we said
Awesome.
tonight. You know.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks
Thanks,
so much,
guys.
Smokey.
Appreciate
Thanks
it.
for your
Me
Take it easy.
personally, my bat phone is ringing, so one sec, I got to run anyway.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Valho.
You-
See you again in the space.
Thank you.
Make sure to
Thank you
claim
so
your POAP
much.
if you're interested in that. Okay, I'm trying to re-add people who were
Thanks, guys.
pending. Who are pending. All right. Let's see. All right. Cool. Well, it's great that we still have very active people staying with us. But I was very surprised that Aaron just decided to like, I'll go down first. You know, please remove me. That is I think a super high quality sign that people are being good and doing good to others. All right. We have Manbeer just joined us. Please introduce yourself really quick without too much chilling and just share what your project is about. There's also Jalba. I'm recognizing you that you've been around. You can talk as well if Manbeer is being too slow.
Hey, Raman.
I'm not sure who's speaking right now. Malbear?
Hey, I'm audible.
Cool, Manbeer, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Please intro yourself.
Yeah, hey,
What are
Raman.
you working on?
Hey, yeah, hi everyone. I am Manbir and I'm based out of Delhi. And I'm currently working with Consensus as a community lead for MetaMask. And yeah, great to hear from you all. And I'm currently working on some of the initiatives to basically introduce crypto and blockchain to more beginners, to onboard more beginners into this ecosystem, to help them make aware and yeah, to make them educated and get into this ecosystem in a more responsible way. And working on a couple of growth initiatives, a couple of events, a couple of community initiatives. But yeah, I would love to hear from you. Have you all been using MetaMask, and what all do you love about it?
Right. I've got a question. So how long have you been with Consensus?
So it's been a few months since I've joined Consensus, but previously I've worked with Binance for a short while over a fixed term contract.
Cool, interesting. Okay, yeah, I think like one of by the nature of MetaMask, and MetaMask on Twitter has been you post anything about MetaMask, you get like 1,000 people, 1,000
Yeah.
bots
So yeah, right,
commenting
bots,
support
right.
links. So like I think I hope you don't get offended, but like the natural question
Yeah,
is
of
like,
course.
how do
Yeah.
we know that you actually work with Consensus? And I hope you're getting these
Yeah.
questions, but
Yeah, I'm getting that.
yeah.
Cool. So yeah, how do you get to know that I'm working with Consensus? I mean, yeah, you may find me on Discord server, and you may see, some tags like admin, MetaMask team, and all that within the Consensus server. And then yeah, like the fact that you brought up that bots start to respond whenever we mention MetaMask on Twitter, that's something that we're trying to deal with. And yeah, even we are like, that's a headache, right? And yeah, we are trying to solve that, especially beginners who are trying to get into this space. That would be risky as well as demotivating for them. But yeah, we'll be introducing a feature soon that would respond to the response, I mean reply or anything that asks for users to fill out a form or send out an email, and that would respond to only use official support channels, that is support.metamask.io, to get in touch with anything related to support.
Cool. Sorry, I'm multitasking. Awesome. I think like one of the interesting points, like the bigger the project gets, like it becomes very hard for the leaders of the projects to verify that they are they. Like I remember there were situations where Vitalik would join certain chat,
Yeah, I know.
and like no one believes
I
that it's
know.
actually him, but it's actually him.
I can completely understand.
Yeah, which is very very funny. It's like problems of getting a bit too much attention or maybe successful to a certain extent. But yeah, we're gonna take a leap of faith and hope that you're actually working with please don't get offended. That's the nature of this industry.
Yeah, of course. It's your right, and it's a right of every person to question and to verify the legitimacy. So yeah, I'm completely with you on that.
I wonder if projects should come up with some additional ways of like verify that their team members on Twitter, like I don't know, maybe with like signing their whatever their keys and like publishing that as a proof on their Twitter accounts, so that in addition to actually verified Twitter accounts, which are impossible to get, or I don't know, some people are getting it, and I don't understand why.
Yeah.
Or how they're getting
So
it.
I do think there could be a couple of potential solutions that could verify that. For example, a simple solution that does not even involve blockchain would be like to list out the team members on the company's website and to add their basically their handle. So for example, in my case that's Manbir Marwa, so they could simply add that handle on alongside my name and profile picture, right? And the other solution could be people, basically employees, verifying their PFP and getting getting an NFT up on their profiles, and then the companies could in some way verify that this contract held by this person is like this person holds this NFT, and this person is verified, and don't look out for anyone else apart from this person who anyone else who might try to impersonate him or her.
Interesting. This is actually, sorry, Gandalf wanted to say something, but if you go ahead, I had some ideas in mind that I wanted to add. Gandalf, go ahead.
What Manbir said.
Yeah, sure. I think the idea of like the using NFT as like PFP, since like Twitter allows doing it now, but creating a kind of like non-transferable NFTs, which might sound lame, but non-transferable NFT where like an organization can transfer it to your wallet and then you cannot like move it to someone else, right? And so it's kind of almost like a verification or certification. So like I can transfer, if I'm Consensus, I'm transferring this NFT of being an employee of Consensus to Manbir, and Manbir just sets it up as a like Twitter profile pic. And we kind of all know that he's probably part of Consensus since he's got the NFT set up. It's all signed, transferred, secured by the chain. Just like a random idea.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Simple, non-transferable token that can be burnt by the creators, so that if you get fired or leave, they just burn it. And
awesome.
On a PFP.
Creating a new Discord server. You get the joke, I hope. Launching a new project right now as we speak.
Yep.
Cool. I think any questions for Manbir? I think I would have a lot of questions, but I would let other people ask questions. Come on, people should have questions around like what it's like to be working in Consensus.
One quick announcement or one quick share that I have. If from the audience anyone is working to educate people about this ecosystem, about blockchain and crypto, or especially if you're creating content around MetaMask or Ethereum ecosystem as a whole, at Consensus we are running an ambassador program, and we offer incentives, we offer community support, and we would love to onboard you as an ambassador, especially if you're trying to educate people on how to build in this ecosystem. So yeah, do hit me up.
I wanted to ask if Consensus is still running Consensus Academy. I remember that used to be a pretty good place to learn engineering.
We are definitely running Consensus Academy, and you may check that out on our website as well.
Cool.
Hi, Manbir. Good evening.
Hey.
Hi. So I'm the meme lord for Crypto Jobs List. Okay.
Awesome.
So now, yeah. So in consensus, or my question was, see, we as a community manager or anybody who's handling communities, they should be
Yeah,
having a good content for better community engagement. And like in the wise words of Elon, who controls the memes controls the universe, right? But
absolutely.
well, how can we better, like, how can we get better at getting more engaging responses and posts in the community? Which means, like, you post something and people don't usually react. So, how do I get them to better interact with us with Crypto Jobs List? Thank you. Anybody can answer this.
Sure. So I can take it up for first, and anyone may add pointers to that. The way I look at it is basically try to incentivize people. I mean, your community members who would love to create content for you. And it could be anything that they would like to create. It could be blog posts, it could be videos, it could be memes. So yeah, try to leverage their potential and try to get them at the front, and then try to provide some sort of incentives to them so that they feel that their what value they're providing, they are they're appreciated for that, as well as they are also getting something out of it.
Yeah, thank you, Manvi, for that. But my question was, do we really need to, run these paid marketing campaigns? Like you post something, and then you have those uh, paid marketing stuff. Like, is that the only way through which you can gain a response, a community response back, either on Twitter or Discord? Like, or is there any workaround?
Sure. So paid marketing campaigns are a good way to, to tap the untouched audience, to get more people to know about the product. But yeah, that's definitely not the only way. And that's obviously not the best way to get the audience and to keep them hooked and to keep them engaged. So to keep them engaged is to, I would say, to keep providing value to them in some way.
Can
Yeah, I
I
just
say something?
wanted to quickly comment as well, and I recognize Zoe. I'll give you your voice as well. Yeah, I think just posting engaging content and funny memes is a great way to do, and I think Ash been doing a fantastic job as well with coming up with great memes for CGL. I've been doing my best as well to steal memes from the relevant subreddits, which we've been doing pretty well. I'll share one meme that is pretty funny that is actually related to copying. Anyway, yeah. Sorry, Zora, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to say something on the topic of paying actually advertisement in this space. I actually think that's the worst idea, to be honest. Maybe later on it could be something smart to do, but from the use cases right now, if you pay advertisement, because there's many people in our DMs asking like, do you want me to promote your project? And when they do, there's a lot of bots who will come and like click the likes. Like they have certain ways to do it, and it actually kills your engagement. Like it totally dies, because those are not really real people who are engaging with you, which means that you're gonna lose it, the people that you are engaging with. So it comes again for me back to making sure you're doing the work, which is being in these kind of spaces and actually in the Discord communities, communicating with like other communities there, and in spaces with other communities, and then people organically get to know you and your project. And I feel like that's how many people did it. And of course there's other ways around it, because you have influencers that you can make deals with. Let's be super honest about those things. You can do those kind of things, but then it's more human generated, and those are more people in a community who will do it, and not bots or computers. It actually kills your engagement to do that. I would organically build it up in this space, and then see if you can find like a promoter, or not a promoter but an influencer who wants to be on board. And there are certain shows who do that here. Even if you still pay them or tokenize them to promote your project, it's still a bit more real, or it's still real than having like a bot here on Twitter posting something and killing your engagement.
Absolutely. And
Sorry, I just wanted to add about like paid ads. I myself don't have much experience with them. I've like pretty much never ran them, but I see a lot of them showing up in my Instagram and like in the Facebook feed when I open it around like NFT projects. And realistically speaking, and just like purely from kind of, I understand why is it happening, and I think a lot of founders who are starting from like ground up kind of sometimes they get a bit too afraid to run ads, and I think I'm one of those people because I think it's really important to start build some core community from scratch and make sure that the people are engaged, people are there for a reason, there is some substance in the project, the more substance the better. I think later on it will not harm if you really know whom you're targeting to use some of the ads to drive a bit more wider reach. But again, I would really discourage that doing from like day zero when you barely know what you're actually building, where you even have no idea what kind of project or what kind of people you want to attract. Yeah, again, these are like my two kind of 2 cents, 2 sats based on kind of overview of what I've seen
Yeah.
so far.
I think,
Gandalf, I think
Thank you,
has
sir.
experience in this.
yeah, I think the first thing you should be asking is, why are you wanting that engagement? And so to be, well, if you've already got a community, is it to keep them engaged, or is it to try and do outreach? If it's to do outreach, which, correct me if I'm wrong, but is possibly what you're trying to do to get a more visible presence, especially if you're talking about Twitter and things like that, then you'd need to ask yourself, well, what is your target audience? And I know I keep saying this, but I can't stress enough that it is really important to understand what your target audience is, who they are, and that will drive your marketing strategy. And to figure out who your target audience is, there are 2 main questions that you'll want to ask yourself. One is, what is your goal for the project? And the second one is, what do you see the goal or the purpose of the people who are buying into your project to have? And so once you can answer that, that'll start to dictate who your target audience is. That target audience will then dictate what sort of marketing strategies you do. And just for example, if you're focusing more on the traditional audience in Web2 and in real life, then yeah, paid advertising is something that can work, whether it be Facebook ads. Brave ads are one of the most effective paid advertising that I've ever seen. They have a click-through rate. If you have some really good ads, they can have a click-through rate of maybe 13-14%, which is very high. Anyone who's done paid advertising will, like, normally you'll get maybe 1 to 3% click-through rate, so it's super high. With Brave, you can do ads on CoinGecko, and it also depends on whether you're doing brand awareness or conversions, because brand awareness, paid ads are great for that. But say on CoinGecko, for example, where the click-through rates might be between 0.5 and 1%, depending on how good your ads are, they're not going to get the conversions for you. Whereas for Brave, it might not be as good for the brand awareness, but it's really, really good for that conversion factor. If you're focusing more on the Web3 space and the crypto natives, then paid ads are not going to be as effective, because there's a very strong focus on that organic, that trust, that reputation, that network. And if you're not going to go with the paid ads route and you're going to focus on the brand awareness and that outreach and that conversion for the Web3 space, then do be careful. Even so, as I was saying about the paid ads, do be careful about that, but also be careful about reaching out to influencers, because they can have a similar impact. Many influencers in the space will have massive followings, but those followings will do the exact same thing that paid ads will do, in that it will kill your engagement. So the way Twitter works, for example, is any post that you do will be visible to maybe 20 or 30% of your audience, of your followership. And depending on how that performs,
Did we
No,
lose Gandalf?
much.
I
Well,
was thinking, did it only cut out for me? I hope he's hearing it, because I did want to say that oh no, he fell down. I mean, like, don't let the influencer post something for you, right? I try to be as transparent as possible. People will might shoot me, but what I mean is like have them host you a space. Oh, Edward, you have a hot mic. What I mean is like have them host you a space, because those people coming into the space, those are actual people who will look at your product and at your project and follow you if they like it. So I don't mean like having a post and then it's dead, but have like the real people in this space who are actually supporting projects to host you, or like, I don't know, something, but don't do the bots and stuff like that.
Absolutely. And just to add to what Raman added, the point where he brought up having substance. So that's so important, having substance for the not just the product, but also for a community, right? Community and marketing are totally separate things. I would say totally unique. They bring totally unique aspects, and no amount of marketing can replace a community, right? If we need to better understand what people want from a product, from a community, we need to put ourselves being a community manager out there in a community, right? Marketing is good for clicking the minds of users, of customers, but to keep them hooked, to keep them engaged for the long time, to have them provide some value, and to better understand what value we can provide to them in the long term, it's really important to have a sustainable community, and marketing is simply not the best way to get that done, right?
Sorry, I got drugged there. Did we move on, or should I keep talking, Raman?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
What was the last thing you guys heard? I'm sorry.
I can say, because I wanted to say, like, you're absolutely right with the influencers. But what I mean was like have them host you like a space or something. Like there are influencers who are genuinely like interested, and that way you're sure you don't have like dead bots and people like clicking likes and but not being real people. Because you were pointing out like influencers could do the same as those paid ads that are bots, right? And I agree with that if they post something.
Yeah. Spaces is going to be a much better approach for that. Sorry, I've lost my train of thought. So I think I got caught up on how Twitter algorithms work, but it's probably not that relevant for this space right now. The other thing you can do is, instead of focusing on driving engagement to a particular Twitter post by doing a giveaway or something like that, and paying and incentivizing your community to do that, one way you can do that in kind of killing two birds with one stone is do something like a Twitter post with a giveaway, but partner up with a different Discord or a different project and say, hey guys, we'd like to do a particular giveaway with you guys, and we'll do the Twitter post and we'll manage the giveaway for you. Do you want to contribute anything? Yes or no? No. Can you, but you need to promote it in your Discord and we'll promote it in ours, that we're partnering together for it. And so what you've now done is you've now, with very little cost to yourself, hopefully, if it's just NFTs or something, you've got yourself being visible in another project's community. You're also getting them to drive that engagement to your Twitter and to your Discord. And you're also providing value back to your own community in the sense that you're still doing that sort of giveaway, etc. And I think Manbia mentioned it, that ultimately you need to be providing that value back to your community. And it could be in the form of dollar value, i.e. NFTs, ETH, tokens, whatever it ends up being, but it doesn't have to be. It can be things like, excuse me, whether it be a meme contest or a content creation or a derivative artwork, or give a title to this particular utility, or give a name to this particular NFT. And if you win, then we will feature your work on our channel, or we will give you a particular role, or we will give you bonus XP if you've got some sort of economy bot built into your Discord. There's a whole range of different ways of adding value back to your community without it costing you $1. And that will drive engagement.
I also believe in the organic way of doing it. Like it's free and it works.
And because it's organic, that's also sustainable over time, right?
That's right.
Yeah, sustainability is a really important thing. You can give people money, but you can't keep doing that.
Exactly.
You will run out of money sooner or later, and people will start finding ways of cheating your system and just draining your funds, creating duplicate accounts. So that is unsustainable, even if you have like $1 billion in your account that you're ready to give up.
When you look at it, it's like what they say, right? Time is money. So either you invest the money, which I think in the beginning you shouldn't do, or you invest your time, which is going to be much more valuable. Your time is valuable in the first place. It's going to be much more valuable because you're going to connect with the audience and stuff like that. And then later you can probably replace that time for money. But I would right now put my time and energy in it.
Yeah, I think at the beginning there is always, to show signal, you need to be just, dedicating your own time and efforts, and people will see that, they will recognize that, they will understand that you're genuine, and that you're not just, throwing money at the problem. Certain problems can be fixed that way, but not all of them. And in the end of the day, money give you satisfaction only to a certain extent. After that, people still search for meaning, search for purpose. And you cannot attract the best people just by throwing the most number of dollars at them, right? Like, people will go work for Elon, maybe for a pay cut, after quitting their Google or some other top paid job in the valley or somewhere else, or at some bank, just because they believe in a certain purpose, right? So the same thing with projects that we are running in crypto space, and whether you work in NFT, DeFi, in any of the Web3, whatever you want to call it. There's so much jargon out there. I think you want to figure out what they stand for, what are those values, articulate those values very clearly to your community, to your followers, and you will attract the right people who are kind of on the same journey with you. They will back you up they will go with you through thick and thin. I think this has been 2.5 hours, 2 hours 45 minutes. I'm trying my best to keep up the energy and try to moderate a little bit further. But again, this has been amazing so far. Thanks so much, everyone. Thanks, Gandalf, Zoe, Caroline, Manbear, NFT Gaga. I think there are several people who already left. But yeah, let's keep this going for at least maybe another 20 minutes. Let's see how everyone feels. But unfortunately, we probably cannot do this forever. We need to put a stop. And probably there's going to be an opportunity for similar talk, maybe like in a week or 2 weeks. Maybe even right now we can. Actually, I think it might be a good time to reflect on the conversation so far, and maybe discuss what can be done, what went well today, what can we do better next time, and what are the topics that we want to discuss, or maybe some prominent whatever community managers, some projects that we want to highlight and discuss them. What do you guys think? What do you think was done well today? What could be improved the next time? What should we do next time? I'm taking notes. You guys speak.
I'm thinking. I think the flow of the conversation was really nice. Also, what you did there by people first introducing themselves, that was really nice, because usually we do know some people in this space already, because we're almost 24/7 here. But I remember in the beginning that people used to do that in rooms, first introduce yourself, what you do. I think that was really a nice one, even if it was more natural for you. Usually it's not being done anymore in spaces. So definitely keep that one in.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Yeah, I think for a lot of spaces out there, they kind of have the same community going. So, and in our case, we try to get kind of engaged very different communities. Like in previous weeks, we would interview a different company every week, and their followers will join, and we would have to know, not everyone knows each other yet. So I think introductions are great. Do you guys think that there are some certain things that we should change or do better next time, or some topics that we should bring up next time? Gandalf, Zoe, Caroline, what do you guys think?
Well, I haven't heard the whole conversation, obviously. So where I stepped in, it started getting really good, at least, or maybe it already was from the start. So I don't really. I don't know. Did you discuss really different things in the beginning?
I think there will be a recording so you can listen to it again if you'd like, if you have time. But I think the structure was pretty much kind of the same, but I think it picked up definitely. Gandalf, what are your thoughts? Or sorry, Caroline, finish. You were about to say something. So.
Oh, I was opening my mic.
Sure.
Unless Caroline, you want to finish yet?
No, I think like honestly, the things that I've heard that were touched on right now are all very good subjects. And for now, I wouldn't have any suggestions. I think for that, I would have to have been here from the start. But I think you're doing a good job in hosting them and making sure everybody gets the mic, etc. So that's great.
What you
Thanks so much.
maybe also could do, because like you said, most of these spaces have communities that they already know, so maybe over time as you get to know the people on stage, and when they're not new, what a friend of mine does, Logic, he holds also this, I actually went from his space to this one, and his space is like almost 5 hours, 7-8 hours long. And but he knows, like, we all met each other on Clubhouse, and then he actually introduces the person, which works really nice, because then he's like, oh, this is my friend Zoe, she does this and that, or this is my friend Brendan, because he already knows us. And then for the new people, you can still ask if they introduce themselves, because it's so nice for the audience to have a little bit of background there. And maybe a nice topic is also for people coming in the space, because I feel like lots of people are rushing themselves to be like, oh my god, I need to make it, and I need to collect this project, and I need to like launch my own project, and da-da-da. It's like you have time to observe things. Maybe it's a good topic to talk about, okay, how do we deal with these kind of stresses that communities feel or people feel when they come into this community, and I think they need to do all the 500 things at a time, because I feel like that's also going to be a big thing. Unfortunately, people have like mental health issues from it. At the same time, I also think that if it happened here, it probably happened somewhere else. But it's really good that people in this community take care of mental health and they talk about it a lot. But separate from that, a good topic could just be that, like, when you come into this space, breathe, get to learn, do things organically. Like, there's no rush. Like, how are we gonna do that as people in this community right now?
Good points, especially about mental health. I think there might be something there we can discuss, or maybe we can organize another Twitter space with mental health and crypto. I think that's going to be full of memes and full of crazy stories. Anyway, I think Rich Explorer has something to say. To comment.
Hey, yeah, thank you so much for inviting me over, and thanks for organizing this. I think it was really great. I actually did learn a bunch of stuff, um, and thanks Aditya for posting about it. Because of that, I got to know about this. So I think one quick call out from my side was like, I'm not sure if this is the right place, but some of us, like including me, have certain questions. So is there a way we can like share our questions early on and maybe take those questions in these Twitter spaces?
Right. I think it's a good question. Good point. I think no one's stopping you from just commenting to our announcements and like, hey, I have a question upcoming, if you can address it. Previously we were like openly encouraging people to actually do that. Like, hey, please comment under this tweet. What are your questions? I don't think very many people did that, but I definitely agree with you that people should ask questions in advance if they have questions. But in my experience, soliciting questions is usually very, very hard. Like, even if you ask for them, people are still like very shy. They sometimes not sure whether they want to ask or whether they want to ask permission to speak. But yeah, I think we can definitely do even a better job at that. What do you feel? Are you talking mostly about like asking questions during the Twitter space itself or before it?
So I think the idea is during or before is both are good, because I think this is a great like this Twitter space right now is a great place where I want to ask my question. But I think maybe a lot of people would want to do the same. So maybe We can do it during the Twitter space, before. Anything is fine till the time like the question goes to you guys.
Yeah.
Raman, just on that point, do you have a Discord server?
Me?
Who?
Raman.
Oh yeah, we do. If you go to.
Sorry, I was just going to say, because that can be a fairly, can't think of the word, but
junior mod. Is that what you're saying?
no, that can be a fairly, I can't think of the word. It's too late in the middle of the night for me. But a good way for people to, non-confronting way for people to ask their question, because in Twitter posts they can feel still a little bit like it's very public, whereas if they go to your Discord they might be more comfortable asking the question there. And so I know a couple of spaces that do that, and that does seem to work well.
Very good point. I'll use this opportunity to just attach a tweet with the link to our Discord in case you guys want to join. But yeah, I think that's a good approach.
Yeah, it helps to get people into your Discord too.
Yeah, I think that both of that will help. So on that note, should I ask my question now? Do you wanna like continue the?
Yeah, please go for it, because I think we're wrapping up. So go for the question, and then we'll continue wrapping up.
Okay, it'll be really quick. So I'm also working on an NFT collection, and what we are trying to establish. I'm a software engineer with 6 to 8 years of software engineering background. So I am building tools for the community. So what we are trying to establish is a community first project. Like everything is for the community, and in order to achieve that, we also do need great community managers or mods or something to be a part of our core team, who we can trust and like who we can like collaborate. And it's been super hard for me to get those genuine people and talk to. Like I've been scheduling calls with a lot of people, but that genuinity is just somewhere somehow is kind of missing. It's not kicking in. So would love to know your thoughts and like how should I go about it, and how should I find the right person or people. But the idea is like we just totally want to find a person who loves community and who would have that community obsession that we have.
Sorry, I can't actually see what's going on because my screen's frozen. So, Raman, let me know if others are wanting to talk or if I should talk.
Sure. I can just briefly chip in, and then you can also contribute. I just want to say, like, I think it's an organic process that takes time, and you need to like just show people what are you working on, and more people will get familiar with you, and they will make a decision whether they want to contribute and help mod your community or not. And it does not happen overnight. There is no like a magic button where you just like do it. I mean, I wish it existed. Kind of part of the thing that we are trying to do at Crypto Jobs is like help connect people together through either job listings or talent profiles or Twitter spaces like this. But it's still not out of magic, unfortunately. It's just the nature of how human beings operate. So it's not very easy just to like attract the right person. Yeah, these are my 2 cents. Gandalf?
There is something that we haven't really touched on that I think is probably worth mentioning, and that is identifying exactly your niche and your value add, and being able to emotionally connect with your community. And when I say, sorry.
Did he cut out, or is it me?
I think he got cut out.
Oh, again, the Red King is back.
I was loving what he was saying. Oh my god, I'd love to listen.
Gandalf, we lost you.
And can I because when he was saying that, I was like, yes, that is the topic, because oh, I want him to be back.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I had
He'll come back. Gandalf just
Okay.
runs
Yeah.
like
He's
20
rejoining.
times every single space, so it's okay. He will come back.
I think the improvement idea for the next spaces is I'll ship everyone a fiber optic connection before they join the space, and an expensive microphone.
I had the same thing, because I was in a space with like some of their European friends, and they were talking about, we were like, it's a casual space. It's usually like on the Tuesdays and also on the Sundays or Wednesdays and Sundays, and it's one of my favorite spaces. And we were talking about we talked about just NFT and anything and everything, and then at one point, oh sorry Caroline, oh, and then at one point, um I was like, because we were talking why people create things, right? When it comes to projects and other things. And I was like, yes, but I create things because I think it's beautiful. Like, I like things just to be beautiful. And then one of my friends was like, yeah, but it can be that. Like, what is beauty for you? Like, you need to go deeper into that. And then I told them, here's the funny thing. Most artists that I know in this space are also thinking that they create stuff from beauty. And I do understand that it comes from a different place. So what we artists need to learn, I think, is storytelling. And I think that's what Kendall wanted to say also. I think the storytelling part is so important because it helps you build your whole world. Literally, it helps you structure your world. Because if you, let's say in my case, I have a bag, and if I can tell the story of, okay, it's someone who likes pretty things, of course, it's going to be lots of layers there. Oh, there he is. But of course, it's going to be lots of layers there. Welcome back. But then at least I know, like, okay, if the bag is gonna be in like a cafe, it's probably gonna be like pretty pink flowers or whatever pretty it is to me, right? So it even helps you with your Discord. Like, how do you want your Discord to be? So storytelling is super important. So we actually hosted a space on storytelling, and the space was like really like 200 people in the space, and it was ongoing because many artists, we need to know what storytelling is. And one of the key things I can give you is like, do empathy mapping. Empathy mapping is going to be so good for you to know, like, okay, this is the person. Like, you can Google it. I literally have Googled it. Maybe I should post it and pin it on top. And then it will help you actually build the story around like your art or your product or whatever it is. And it will help you in visually in literally every and any way. So storytelling is big. And what Seth Godin said is for me super important because I'm a Seth Godin fan, is like people like us do things like this, right? So if you can think like that, just with how Nike used it in Apple and stuff like that. So on that note, Gandalf, I really appreciate you bringing that up. Storytelling is huge. We need to like learn to storytell so that we can build. And there's so much I want to say still on that. One thing, because the topic of ourselves, of us artists, and us telling our personal stories about, oh my God, I was born here and did this, and it's really nice, but you actually need to tell the story about what you're doing. That's how you're going to attract your collectors. Look at the cool cats. Like, they minted at 0.06, didn't go good, so it was 0.02, sold out, and then the community was building itself up, and then the cool cat became super big, and then the story of actually Cole, the artist behind the cool cat, added value then to the cool cat community itself. That, like, your personal story will add much more value when you also build a story around your brand, and then people get to know who is actually the person behind it. So it's not all about us all the time, because it's about us taking maybe our story but generalizing it. Let's put it like there's so much on this topic. I hope you're gonna do a room about like storytelling and things like that. Yeah, sorry.
Good idea.
I'm
Gandalf.
sorry. I'm sorry. I keep rugging. My apologies to everybody. I know that's a bit annoying. I caught most of what you said, Zoe, so please forgive me if I do repeat anything that you've already mentioned. I think you're pretty much in the same line of thought as what I was saying about build your identity up, know exactly what the value is that you're trying to bring, because if you don't, or if you're not going to be doing that, your project is not going to succeed. Just as simple as that. You will not be able to succeed in this space if you don't have a value add. So understanding that is really, really important. That goes hand in hand with what Zoe was saying about that storytelling. Make people be able to connect with you with that value add that you're bringing. Get them emotionally involved. As soon as you start doing that,
Hello?
people will want to. Hi Punk, just give us a second. People will want to start to be involved in the project and start to help out, because that will then allow you to use their resources in a positive manner without it being a grind or hard work on their part, because they're doing it because they want to, because they're emotionally connected with you. And that's just the simplest and easiest way to really promote your community and build that up in a way that allows them to be involved like building out the mods and building out your community manager team.
I'm gonna pin it, by the way, but we were talking about in the space exactly about that, like the emotional connection you're gonna make with like your collectors, like the people you're telling the story to. So I love everything you just said.
I have a little question to Gandalf. How would you connect? Like, could you share an example? For example, like, how would you do emotional connection with your members, for example?
Sure.
Sorry
do you want
if
the
I
example?
kind of rambled.
That's all right. Do you want the example for a one-of-one artist or a PFP collection?
Is there a difference? Like, it would be different for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Generally speaking, it is a little bit different. Yeah, because the one-of-one artists, the community there is focused often on the artwork and the artists themselves, whereas for a PFP, sometimes they're more focused on the team, the utility, the community that is trying to be built, and the family aspect of it.
Yeah. And would you like, sorry, I'm just going to finish, sorry. So emotional connection, how would, for example, PFP collection would create that with the new members? For example, like I feel I got emotionally connected to the founder because what she was working was kind of like what I've been searching for in a way. And I got emotionally connected to her. That's how I like, you know, it was so easy to approach her and we got super connected right away. But like, how would you advise to go about it? Like, you know, like to be vulnerable with your community members, or like what would be your advice? Thank you.
Sure. So an example of how this might work would be where, let's say, a project is building out a PFP collection with aliens, for example. The way I would go about building that emotional connection is, one, be vulnerable as the team or the founding team. So that's going to be the same as whether it's a one-of-one artist or a PFP. But the community that are going to be buying into your project are more, like I was saying, are going to be more focused on being part of something great. They're wanting to buy in to be part of this exclusive community that are going to be give them a sense of belonging. They're going to be wanting to be part of something that might be pushing the boundaries from a technological standpoint. So driving that, so having that understanding and then driving that home, really make people feel welcomed when they join your Discord server, when they tweet about it. Really push hard on the inclusivity of people and making them feel like they are special, and that they can contribute to your project and that you need them. If you make them feel like you need them, I mean, human ego is an amazing thing. It can be terrible, but it can also be used in a good way. And that is, making people feel like they are needed will give them that encouragement that they need to actually contribute in that way and get involved. And that's a little bit different to a one-of-one artist, where you might be focusing more about your journey as an artist and the emotions behind the photography or the artwork of the particular one-of-one that you've created. So with a PFP, it's really focusing on that inclusivity and that connectedness and the support and need of the community members. Does that make sense? It's not quite an example, but
it does. It totally, like, it's in a way saying to your members, we are in this together, we are building this together. This is not just my project, this is everybody's project. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that's right. And so it might mean that you focus on, like, let's say you've only got 100 followers on Twitter as a PFP project, and you might feel very discouraged about that. But treat those 100 as your first OG 100. Give them a special role on Discord. Start doing some special, like, say, all right, the first 100 followers, you guys, I'm going to let you choose the particular color of suits on some of these aliens, for example, or yeah, make them give them responsibilities that make them feel like they're needed. I guess I feel like I'm repeating myself
It
now.
makes total
I hope I'm
sense.
making
Like,
sense. Yeah.
kind of gamify the whole process as well.
Yep, you can do that.
Okay.
You don't want to do it just for the reason of gamifying. So I'm a huge proponent of gamification, but only if each part of the gamification has a value. Just like I believe tokens are a great thing, but I hate to see most projects with tokens because they do it just for the sake of doing it. Utility on NFTs, amazing. Like, you won't find somebody who's bigger on utility, but I hate to see it in projects because they just do it because they can. So again, I'll bring it back to what's the value add that you're trying to do. In this case, it is trying to connect with your community in a way that makes them feel needed, and figure out how the gamification components will do that.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. Raman, I will have to jump off because it's been 3 hours, and I do want to ask one last question to Gandalf again. Am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Gandalf is correct.
Gandalf, yes. Okay. Where would I find resources? Like, I feel like you have so much more experience, and I'm just getting into the space, and I've been loving it, and I would like to learn more. And so, since I see you're here, I'd like to know, like, where could I find resources to learn even more? Because I've been like searching on YouTube and like over and over watching the same YouTube videos about NFT community building and stuff like that. And it's like, I need more.
Sure.
Thank you.
I mean, like Zoe said, YouTube is a great place to get content, but there's obviously only so much you can do. The couple of things: do you have a Discord, or are you going to be building a Discord in the future?
I do have a you mean I do? If I have a Discord server on my own Discord server?
Yep. Okay. So
no, I don't.
Will you be having a Discord server eventually, or probably not?
Well, I guess like since I'm not finding the information that I am looking for, so maybe I can build a community around, like, you know, how to build a community, how to become a better community manager kind of thing. So I could invite people to kind of chat with each other, because that could be super interesting, I think. Did you have suggestions?
Well, I was going to say, if you do have a Discord, or you're going to be building one out, definitely go through to Discord's Moderator Academy yourself. That's a really important tool that a lot of people don't go through, and that goes through all the ins and outs and settings and features and functionality of a Discord server, and what mods should and should not do. So that's, if you are going to build out a Discord. Don't build out a Discord just because everyone else is doing it, though, because it does take time and resources, and if it's not going to be adding value to you or your community, it's going to be taking resources away from where you should be focusing on. So you'll probably know when you need a Discord, and there are two reasons. One is if your community want to be having a place to engage and interact with each other, and the other is, generally speaking, if you want to have a localized place for you to convey active information to your community. That's different to static information. Static information is something that you can just put on a website, i.e. the mint date, the story behind the project. Active information is things like the progress each week or each day, or updates about
I don't have an NFT project. This is just to become a better community manager.
Okay. So as far as that goes, then, I'm sorry, I misunderstood the question. So as far as that goes, I would suggest you follow a few people and jump in their spaces. One of those would be Commander Crypto.
Commander Crypto?
Commander Crypto.
Okay.
He is a very good marketer. He's been in the industry for quite some time, and prior to being in this industry, he was also a marketer in traditional as well. He runs spaces on a daily basis. He mostly focuses around marketing and one-on-one artists, but generally speaking, marketing with one-on-one artists, there is a lot of overlap just in general as far as a community manager. Another person I would recommend is Steve Ryan. He has a project called NFTs for Freedom, and he runs a very inclusive space also on a daily basis, and that is a very good place to learn from other projects about what they're doing and how they're managing their communities and building them out. But the NFTs for Freedom project is also going to be really good because it's going to be providing resources for people who basically need them, any types of resources whatsoever. John, which he falls under the Toddler Pillars project, but is actually coming under Chimera Pillars currently. But if you follow Toddler Pillars, you'll generally be able to follow John. He does a lot of spaces as well. Who else? Amro.eth often has some good spaces. NFT Updates also does some good spaces, although NFT Updates are normally mixed as far as they can just be random spaces or good spaces. It kind of varies. I also do run spaces as well occasionally, so do feel free to follow me if you want to, but by all means don't feel the need to. As far as resources go for community management, there's a lot that I would say. I'm reluctant to just suggest one or two particular locations because in reality, the wider you can grow your understanding as far as reading a whole different sources from whole different views and different people, that is how you're going to be able to build up your understanding. And in fact, there are some books, which I can't think of the names of right now, but deal with people management and relationships. And those are really, really helpful as well for community management. I'm sorry, I can't give you names right now.
Before you go, I pinned, because you asked about emotional attachment with your community, I pinned the empathy mat on top, and it's a really easy use when it comes to storytelling. And I actually, but the topic would be way too long. I actually disagree on the point that for PFP is different than one-of-one artists. I actually think there's not that much difference because for both you're gonna be building a world. But you can look at this empathy mat and see if it is gonna help you, because what you're gonna do is actually take the story and generalize it so that your audience gets like this emotional attachment or connection with what you're building. And yeah, you just do that by filling in like all the words that are important to build this world. And like I said, I think it's gonna help you with the visual part of it also, because if you know what type of person it is or what they do, how they speak, how they move, how they talk, then it helps you to also build maybe that PFP project or that one-of-one that you're putting out there, and then maybe taking that one-of-one in a different world because you already know how that world look like. It just, I think for many artists, I just think empty mapping storytelling is just going to help you to build this whole community that you want to build on Discord and off Discord.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry, Rahman. I think, I'm kind of tired. It's been 3 hours and I have learned so much and I've taken so many notes. Guys, seriously, when I just joined the spaces, I thought I had something to share, but I've learned so much more and I thank you so much. I'll be joining your spaces and I'll be learning more. I totally love this. I wish you all have a good day. I have another space this evening, so I'm sorry I have to go. I have to pick up my groceries. So see you soon, guys. Have a good day or
Thanks
good
so much for
evening
joining.
wherever you are. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much. Yeah.
Hello. Could I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead.
So I'm actually pretty new to the NFT community. I have actually a few questions. First off, how do I make more sales, and how do I grow a better community? Like, more followers, more engagement.
All right. Thanks for the question. How to make more sales and how to grow more community, more engagement?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a question? Okay. Okay. That's Gandalf. Do you want to give a quick answer to this, or shall I just go ahead?
If you could, please.
Raman, do you want to go ahead? I'm just having a look at Markwell's profile right now to be able to give some feedback.
Sure. Yeah, I think sorry, go ahead.
So I actually started in December. I've made some progress on Instagram. Pretty good progress, if I say so myself. But on Twitter, it's hard. I don't know why. Not a lot of people notice I do, and I just need some suggestions.
I see. I think just generally, I mean, like maybe Gandalf will provide some specific comments after he reviews the project. But yeah, I think I just generally wanted to say that I think it's a good idea to maybe we can someday create a dedicated space where we look at projects and give comments and recommendations like what to do better. Generally, I would say my general advice is usually just do something interesting, and I think in the NFT space right now is like so crowded that you just need to stand out in some meaningful way beyond just beautiful art or beyond yet another project.
Basically basically just do something else, like something more special. Try new ideas. I'm actually thinking about NFTs with custom soundtracks, because I also make music, but the music and the NFTs are separate. And I was also thinking of well, I forgot. I'm sorry.
Can I interrupt you and say something? I actually don't think. I don't think the NFT is the. Oh, you want to go?
I just wanted to say that I think again it's been 3 hours, so there are a few people who have raised their hands, so I'm just gonna give them opportunity to speak very quickly. But again, just FYI, everyone, we're gonna be wrapping this up again in another maybe like 15 minutes. So let's just be very respectful for everyone and just make comments or ask questions very quickly. And we're gonna do this again. So yeah, Zoe, go ahead, and then I'll give the mic to David, and then and then probably we'll wrap up, unless there's someone else very interesting comes in.
I'll just add a couple of points after Zoe, Raman, if that's all right.
Sure, go for it. Let's do very, very quickly. Mm-hmm.
So this is a very interesting question that could take forever, but we're not gonna do that to Raman. But when you were saying about maybe I should do this or that, I was like, the NFT is not the problem. Like someone could sell someone a pen. Like people are selling things that are maybe like the easiest or the most difficult things to sell. I don't think it's the NFT that you should be looking at. I think it's what you're building. But again, for me, it just comes down to like taking people into your world. And to be honest, most people also host spaces, because when you host spaces, you also get to speak to people, get to meet new people, they get to follow you, they get to learn about you. But most important of all, you get to learn about them, because I do believe it's about giving. Jab, jab, hook, I guess. Because most people, I feel like, just want to take because they see the successful stories and they're like, I'm going to come in and make a few million and that's it. So be just genuine about being in this space and about what you want to, like, the emotional attachment you're going to have to people, like building something. Just be genuine about building something and then go and build it. And it doesn't matter if you're going to sell an image of an ape or an image of a crypto dick, but I don't know all of these things. So it's not the NFT, because people can sell you a pen when you already have a pen. It's about just look into other layers. I tried to be really quick. Go ahead then, Gandalf.
Cool, thanks, Zoe. So when you come up into spaces, again, understand exactly what is unique about your project. And instead of coming up and saying, hey, how can I make more sales and how can I grow my community, just throw a couple of sentences in there about who you are. hey, I'm Punk World. I do generative artwork, pixel artwork because of this. I make music as well because of this. Try and get something in there that's going to hook us, make us interested in your project. And then what we're going to do is we're going to look at your profile, which is what just about anybody in that's hosting spaces will do. And your bio needs to say something again that's going to be interesting about you. Make it much more interesting about either you or the project. Because this is a project account, make it talk about what's unique about that project. Make us to get to be interested and want to click more. You've got the link tree in there, which is great, but then in your pinned post, again, a lot of the text that you've got there doesn't really say much about why I should get involved in your project. You're talking about phase 1 and phase 2, which is really good in a sense, but probably not for your pinned tweet. So the pinned tweet is where you're really going to tell the story about how it's going to be telling the story that will emotionally connect us to your project. And you definitely want to have a call to action in that pinned tweet. So whether it be a link to your OpenSea account, which is probably going to be the best link, or whether it's into your Instagram or wherever else. In your case, I would suggest an OpenSea. Get rid of the 2 images. I think you've got 2 images there of all the different pictures, and create a GIF that cycles through them. Make it larger, make it more bold, catch our attention, make us want to click on it to pause a particular image. That'll drive the engagement up on that pinned tweet, which will then make that pinned tweet more visible to other people in Twitter, and then it'll just escalate from there. I hope that gives you a few quick pointers.
Yeah. Thank you so much. That was actually a lot of information.
Gandalf just gave you $1,000 worth of advice.
Yeah.
Probably more.
Thank you, guys. I'll be sure to come more into spaces.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Punk.
No problem. See ya.
Thank you.
And don't be afraid. Sorry, Raman. I know we're in a rush. Don't be afraid to come up like this. You come up, you do it again, do it a little bit better, keep going, better and better.
All right. Thank you.
Fire. This is amazing advice from Gandalf. Thanks so much for the question, Punk. I think one thing that I wanted to comment and piggyback from what Gandalf said, and also to respond to what Reach Explorer asked about asking questions in spaces. Make sure you have interesting Twitter account. Make sure you don't have like a random Twitter profile picture. Make sure you have a very good bio that is interesting. If people are raising questions in this Twitter space and in previous Twitter spaces, and we did not add them, is either we're out of time, like right now, sorry guys, or the main reason is typically the description is like, there was a risk that this person will just start shilling their project, or there is a risk of the person just going to be using F words everywhere. You want to make sure you're interesting, your authentic Twitter profile, your feed is not just retweets, it's something interesting, something meaningful. And again, but most of the time it's bio and your profile pic. You want to make sure that you're relevant and not some random dude who's not even relevant to the topic of the conversation. These are my 2 ways. I'll let David speak. He's been waiting for his opportunity for a while. David, please intro yourself really quickly. What are you working on, and your question?
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Ramon. My name's David. I'm from Queensland, Australia. Just want to say a big thank you to Gandalf and Zoe for the last few minutes and the valuable learnings that I've had just from that. That's awesome. Look, I'm fairly new in this space, community manager for a new DAO that we're building out and growing out fairly quickly, fairly small, fairly early, but with some pretty massive ambitions. We have an initial project of trying to capture data on coral reefs like it's never ever been done before, and the idea that we can then break up patches of the reef into a sort of 1 hectare pieces that people can own existing and future data and the commercial rights to that, and the ability to go and see their reef and connect with their reef, and that way drive education around the challenges and hopefully drive some dollars towards some solutions.
Awesome. This is a good example of a pitch. What was the question? I missed the question.
No,
there was a question.
No question yet. That's just what I'm doing. I guess I came in here to ask some of the questions that I've just heard around like for our problem, I guess, is that our project's so ambitious, and so a little bit, further on than what traditional NFTs and their use case are. That a lot of people are going, "Wow, this is incredible," but no one's yet kind of going, "Hey, yes, we want to back this financially," or beyond coming in and being a general part of the community, like coming in and being an active and contributing part of that community.
Awesome. I find it surprising that Punk, the previous person who asked the question, just left. So he should have heard this as a good example of how to walk into a Twitter space.
Dave, yeah, I was going to say, interesting idea and an interesting topic. Do I have your permission to give a couple of pointers just on the Twitter profiles?
Yeah, 100%.
I had to scroll down like 3 or 4 tweets before I actually found the handle for your refi Twitter account. Get that up in your bio. It's really important if you're wanting to do any sort of promotion, especially if you're going to be coming into these spaces on your own account. If you don't want to do that, maybe come into these spaces on the refi account. That might be more valuable if you don't want to kind of have your own account showcasing the refi account. Also, with your pinned tweet, doing things differently. I think I see what you're trying to do there, but I would never, ever, ever click on that link. There are too many scam links. There are too many dodgy link websites in this space. You'd need to sell me on the actual tweet to make me want to click on it. Just a couple of suggestions there.
Really, really appreciate that, Gandalf, 100%, and we'll go and check that out and make some changes. Thank you very much.
No worries.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thanks, David. Thanks, Gandalf. Okay, should it be last question from King of the Midlands? Gandalf, how are you feeling today, man? Gandalf, are you getting tired? Is it middle of the night?
It's 1:30 in the morning here. I am a little bit tired, but I'm okay. I can keep going. It's fine.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Ayo from Nigeria. I want to appreciate Gandalf because I really learned a lot of stuff today from him, and he has vast knowledge on community management, and I really learned a lot. I just want to drop a tip that I feel, because I've had my own experience. I actually do crypto education, so I always have to create a community where I have to teach people about crypto, many novice. So I think one of the things I notice in most projects, you notice the community managers don't even believe in the project they are giving to you. I don't know if you get where I'm going with this. Now, if a community manager doesn't believe in his project, in his NFT project, in his collections, he can't really sell that to you, because he's just trying to do it because every other person is doing it. So I think the first step for community managers is to at least believe in the projects they are doing. Hi.
That is very.
What's the question? Yeah, I mean, 100%. You need to believe in the project as a community manager.
It's not a question. It's actually a contribution. It's actually a contribution. Yes.
100%.
Yeah, it is very true. Making sure that anybody that you bring on board in your team or in your community resonates very well, and the power of that can't be underestimated for sure.
Yeah, I think that's also. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go, Raman.
I think that's also one of the reasons why people should not be paying to acquire, especially early audience and early stage community, and that's why it's so important to grow it organically. And it's also the reason why few organizations, few Discords give out mod permissions early on, or like right away, where they will have multiple tiers, is to make sure that, okay, this person is not just there to make a quick buck, but they actually informed about the project. They actually you want to support it. They actually get to stay. So it's everyone gives some period of time to get familiar with the space, build trust, and make sure that they believe in the project.
One thing I was going to say, just on a side point, is since we've started talking about Twitter profiles, if the people that we just spoke to are still listening, check out Zoe's bio. I think that's a pretty decent example of how to not only give a quick description of yourself and a bit of a hook, but also to tagging the accounts, doing your hashtags, doing the particular links in your bio as well as in the link address.
Thanks. I heard my name. I was like, what? Thank you. I just made it up how to do it, because when you were talking about those things just now, I was like, oh yeah, of course. But I think it's a like coincidence that I have it like that, and then the pin tweet when you pointed that out to people, I was like, yes, also important. So thank you for pointing that out.
No worries.
All right, next question is from Al. Let's give it a chance.
Oh, well, hello there. Can you hear me?
Hi there. Yes.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Let me introduce you myself. My name is Al. I'm from Indonesia. So a little bit about me is that I've been in community management space for like, let's say, more than 3 years, but those experience were not in the crypto space. So I am, you can say I am new in the crypto space, and I've got a chance to what is it, to show myself to be a good community manager in a new project. It is a new NFT project, and I would like to do my best, and from my experience, in order to engage with more people, in order to reach people to be interested with our, let's say, our products or our projects, we can just like selling like cold selling in our stories, in our Twitter like that, but we need to do some story selling, because I believe by giving story before selling will be a good option in order to market something. But what I was doing was you can say far from crypto space, and I'm wondering to know. This is my question. When we try to invite people to ask people to enter our community, is it like just the same like selling another product, or we have to do a different approach like that? Could you guys maybe enlighten me a bit, because yeah, you can say this is new for me.
Can I just feedback what I think your question is, just to make sure I understand it correctly? So you're saying getting people involved and destroying your community, is that the same as selling a product in the traditional space, or is it different? Is that your question?
Yeah, that's my question.
Okay. It is different. Selling a product in the traditional space, I mean, selling a physical product in the traditional space is relatively easy and straightforward to do, because the people don't need to trust you or anything. Getting people to join your community is often all about their trust and reputation of the team and the person that they're joining. And so being able to build that out and focusing on that is probably the key most important thing. And even if there's a lot of hype around the project and all of that, there still is that element of who is the team, what's their credentials, what's so good about them, why should I get involved in the community, am I going to get rugged? And for anyone that's listening, rugged means is the team going to pull out from under me after I give them my money? Are they going to just take the money and run? All that sort of thing. It comes back to trust and transparency and reputation and visibility. So that's where I'd focus on.
I got you. Thank you so much. So trust, transparency, and reputation. Thank you so much for your answer, Gandalf.
No worries. And just out of curiosity, is that the Red Cat Multiverse, the project you're going to be working with?
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. Sorry, I was just curious.
So yeah, you can say that it's still we are still doing some private launch, so we are not like published yet. So let's say that I'm trying to do some research here, so we could be a good community, and we want to be a community with let's say 100% organic. Well, that's why I agree with you that we need trust and transparency in order to achieve that level of organic city. How to say that? I don't know.
Yep. I mean, it's going to be tough and it's going to be a grind for you guys. But if you do take some of the advice that's been given out here, hopefully that'll definitely help and try and make that road a little bit easier for you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thanks for the question, Al. Quick piece of advice. You might want to add your project to your LinkedIn bio. Sorry, not LinkedIn bio, Twitter bio. I'm also phasing out right now. It's quite late. You might want to add it to your Twitter bio so that it will kind of add more legitimacy, because like even again, to the question that had been raised multiple times about asking questions and getting noticed in Twitter spaces, I was having doubts like whether should I add ethos speakers or not, because the Twitter description looks kind of weird. There's email. No one really puts email in their Twitter unless it's like a support account. Yeah, so like I think look at the profile descriptions as Zoe, Gandalf. I don't know, maybe myself.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. Thank you so much. I will definitely.
People really want to quickly understand what you're about, like what projects you're involved in. Make sure you have a interesting tweet pinned, something that also like maybe prompts action, maybe subscribe or some other like interesting thought that that tweet will convert, or that tweet will lead to certain action that you want people to take. Another thing that I wanted to, different topic. One thing that I wanted to say throughout this conversation is that everyone right now should pick up their phones, open, look at the screen, and follow Gandalf.
Yeah.
For all the valuable advice that he's been doing. So yeah, just go ahead and follow him, and I think that's the least we can do to support and make sure when he's going to be launching his course for moderation. Just hit the buy button. There will be a price tag.
The documentation is mostly going to be free, actually.
Yeah, hit that subscribe button first. Then.
Wow.
Awesome. Okay. I think both Gandalf and I were phasing out, and I think we're falling asleep. And has it been more than 3 hours now? 4 hours? Anyway, thanks once again. I think we should just like close down. Sorry guys, those who asked speaker access, we're not accepting any more people right now. We're doing this pretty much the same time every week. Usually we do interview companies that are hiring in crypto space, but I think today's session was an experiment and looks like it was a very successful one. Thanks for everyone who spoke today.
Raman?
Yeah.
I was thinking, so I'm going to be going to bed, but what I was wondering is what I can do is I can go ahead and join Steve Ryan's space because he's got one running right now for 5 minutes, so that anybody who's following me can find that space if they still wanted to ask questions.
That's a great idea.
If that's all right with you.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great idea. Just something finishing thoughts. Just make sure to follow us for the every week. We'll be doing this. Follow Gandalf, and let's proceed. Which space you're suggesting? You can just pin it up in here, so people can just easily jump off and not be bored and ask.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let me just pin it up quickly. If I can get it, just give me a second. Sorry.
You should be able to do that.
I was trying to jump in, and for some reason this space had like disappeared from the bottom of my Twitter screen.
No.
So I was looking everywhere, and I finally found it again because I was unable to speak.
Typical
But
Twitter.
I've been quiet for the last hour, but guys, you've been doing a really good job.
Caroline is also very good quality. She does do quite a few spaces as well. That it's pretty fun and good quality. I think I've pinned it up.
Waiting for it. Did you pin it up in your own profile or? or in the Twitter
No,
space
it's there now. It's now the first.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks everyone. Feel free to jump over to that space. Thanks everyone for generosity of the thoughts and ideas that have been shared today. Hope we'll do this again. Thanks so much, Gandalf, once again. Thanks, Zoe. Thanks, Caroline.
It's been nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice
Yeah.
connecting.
Nice
Yeah,
being
thank
here.
you.
Thank you.
It was
Awesome.
I literally was jumping in just for a few minutes actually, just to see what it's all about.
Slippery
Same.
slopes.
Oh yes.
Yeah, another thing, it's recorded, so it will be available here on Twitter, and maybe we'll post it in our mini podcast feed where we post all other Twitter spaces. So if you guys want to rewind to some point that, and I think there's a lot of alpha, I'm definitely going to be releasing myself. Yeah, so there was an opportunity to do that for those who are interested. All right. Why are numbers not decreasing? You guys should be joining the other space because this one will close.
Okay, bye.
Okay, you have last seconds before we close.
Thanks, Raman.
To join different. Thanks so much, Gandalf.
Yeah, thanks for
Thanks,
hosting.
Zoe. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Have a good night.